Say it clear. Say it right. Say our name. Built this nation with our bodies and brain. You benefit, don't give us credit, say our name. We FBAs, foundational Black Americans. You want us to fight every time you in pain, but when it's time to vote for, silence remains. Yeah. They wanna be us, from the style to the hair, from the lips to the hips, body shaped in our glare. They cross borders, profit off the fight, civil rights paid in blood just to stand in this light. Asia to Africa, you walk through the door, but this land got a history you can't ignore. FBI fought it, still fighting today, made room in the system that kept us away. You praise the same power that never chose you, turn your back on the ones that broke chains just to move you. Say we don't know where we come from, that's wild. North to the south, this land raised my child. Built this nation with our bodies and brains. You benefit, don't give us credit, say our name. Say our name, say our name, say our name. We FBA, foundation law, Black American. You want us to fight. Every time you in pain, but when it's time to vote for, silence remains. We were renowned, check the glove for proof. Streetwear in Japan still mirror our roots. K-pop chase the cadence, study how we move. Rapper world language, everybody fluent. From Atlanta blocks to Mumbai lanes, Hannah McCann spitting bars, connected to the flame. That ain't hate, that's impact, that's reach. Culture travel worldwide when the source run deep. They copy the look, they borrow the sound, but skip the respect when we still hold the ground. Love the rhythm, ignore the pain, celebrate the wave, don't say the name. This was home, before permission, before approval, say our name. Nation with our bodies and brains. We benefit, don't give us credit, say our name. Say our name, say our name, say our name. We FBA, foundation law, Black Americans. You want us to fight every time you in pain, but when it's time to vote for, silence remains. Say our name, say our name, say our name. 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 Don't need your respect. Never needed permission. We built everything when we weren't even seen as human. Biting the hand that fed you. Surviving on scraps. FBA stopped begging. We learned to build from scratch. Learn to build from scratch. Learn to build from scratch. Say our name. Say our name.
Y'all don't hear us. Pull up a seat and motherfucking listen. Pull up a seat and motherfucking listen.
Pack your bag, time to go home.
Talking crazy on our soil where our blood and bones grown.
This our grind, we outside on it. While y'all fools on the outside looking, y'all show no respect to Black America, so leave. Hey.
Y'all don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, take your disrespect and just fly on.
Y'all don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, take your disrespect and just fly on.
You landed on the tarmac, fresh off the boat. Talking about y'all building nothing, man, you choking on the note. My ancestors the reason that this country even breathes. Picked the cotton, built the White House, planted the seed. Jim Crow laws, redlined the map, we was the target. You think that struggle's a costume, man, you can't mark it. We fought the wars, we bled the blood, we died for our future's chance. And you come here and give our legacy a side eye while throwing shade on the guard. While you benefit from doors we kick down with our last breath. Now you spit on the architects who stared down death. Disrespectful, that's Disrespectful, ungrateful, a slap in the face to only people who gave a fuck. So let me show your ungrateful ass to the right place.
Pack your bags, time to go home.
Talking crazy on our soil where our blood and bones grown.
This our ground and we outside on it. Why y'all fools on the outside looking? Y'all show no respect to Black America, so leave.
Y'all don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, take your dues back just like home.
Y'all don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, take your dues back just like home.
Passport, the visa, the privilege to be here. Cause my grandma did march for y'all, so disappear from our land. You cosplaying our pain. Think it's a trend you can borrow, but you ain't inherit the ghosts of our sorrow. We the foundation, the bedrock, the soil, and the root. You not no branch on our tree, and unproductive people always cosplaying me.
Talking about we ain't do nothing. You lost your mind.
We built this from nothing, time after time.
From the beginning to now, we been the backbone and muscle. Why you look down on the struggle and cause a whole tussle? The energy style with discussing is whack.
So let's make it clear, there's no turning back.
This land is paid for in full.
In blood, sweat, and tears, and dreams deferred.
You don't get to come into a house we built from the dirt and telling Black America y'all ain't worth nothing. That's a violation. Facts.
Pack your bags, time to go home.
It's our soil on our soil where our blood and bones grown.
Show respect, this our ground. Y'all just tenants on a leash.
Oh, get the step.
Show no respect to Black America, so leave.
Oh, don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, taking your business like it just like home.
Oh, don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, taking your business like it just like home.
Yeah, fly little birdies.
Fly on back to where you came from.
This ain't for you. This sail is sacred.
We said what we said.
It's time
for y'all to go home. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. Fly far, far away from here. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. Fly far, far away from here. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. Fly far, far away from here. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. Fly far, far away from here. Bye bye, little birds. They thought we forgot, but we never forget. This one's for the roots. We built this land from dust and tears, 400 years, and we still here. They write new rules, but they don't see. Every freedom they got came off you and me. We planted seeds, they took the bloom. We lit the flame, they left the room. But we back now, no disguise. The spirits woke, we realize all we want is what we earn. That sweat and blood, yeah, that table turn. You can't buy culture, can't fake that fight. This is our day, this is our ride. We happy day. Say it loud, say it strong. We the heartbeat that's been here all along. Foundation of Black Americans, stand tall. We ain't begging for nothing, we built that all. Born from pain and grace, you can see the truth written in our face. We the soul, the sound, to fight the flame. Foundational Black Americans, say our name. They love our rhythm, but they dodge our blues. Use our voice when it fits their news. They take our sound, but not our scars. We the backbone, we the scars. Now the veil is gone, the mask is clear. We see the game, we know it's here. No more silence, no more lies. We lift that flag and watch it rise. Rise up, rise up. We the ones that made this nation breathe. Our veins are power, our roots are trees. We know world is rhythm and grace, shout, and now we're here reclaiming our rightful place. Can't copy courage, can't steal pain. You can't inherit soul by changing names. Our story ain't done, it's the revival. We guard the gate, it's about survival. We FBA, say it proud, say it loud. The world dances on what we vow. Foundational Black Americans. Still we stand, still we fight, still we demand. Every block, every song, we've been right here all along. The soul of a people strong and free. Foundational Black Americans. We the first, we the rule, we the fire. Still rising, still here. Foundational Black American.
We set the tone and they copy the cadence. Dance to our drums and deny the foundation. Wear the style but don't honor the source. Smile in the crowd and you distance and force. Say you not us but you rap like we breathe. Take the rhythm, then fuse the receipts. I ain't mad, I'm just holding the glass. Showing the mirror, now answer it back. I ain't here to cancel nobody. Just keep it honest, keep it solid. If you eat from the table we built, don't act surprised when we guard it. Do you like that? Do you like that? When I flip your sound and I ride like that. Do you like that? Do you like that? Do you like that? Cause that's how it feel when you borrow my culture. Then act like we never mattered. Hip-hop.
Mike Larry. Now this shit here, it's what I see it is. We're not fighting your battles. We're not carrying your fear. We're not lending our history to people who erased us while we were here. Just cause you born here, don't make you FBA. That makes you a citizen, learn the difference today. This is lineage, not a look you can wear. Not a costume you borrow when it benefits you there. You used our culture like an access card, backstage pass, a straight facade. But now the mirror's in your face, no disguise. And you're uncomfortable looking truth in the eyes. We didn't leave our land to beg for a chance. We stayed, we fought, we took every advance. That's the separation, that's the line you cross, we paid. Waving your flag on oil, but fighting not to go back home. Waving your flag on our soil, building comfort on a foundation you didn't know. We waving our flag, red, black, and gold. Stood our ground, never sold. You waving your flag on our soil, but scared to build what you claim you love. Our humor, our style, the way we move, the smoothness, the sound, the things we prove. Music we birth, language we shape, innovation forged under constant escape. Warrior spirit means stay and defend, not flee your land and rewrite the end. You call it success, but don't confuse the two. Ease came after what we went through. You abandoned your land and called it strategy. You waved that flag loud, but won't return to build your legacy. That contradiction tells the story for you. You waving your flag on our soil, we're fighting not to go back home. We waving ours where we were forged. every inch earned, every brick known. We can't be deported, and that truth changes everything. We can't be deported, and that truth changes everything. We know who we are, and now we see who you are too. Just because y'all born here doesn't make you FBA at all. It makes you an American citizen. It's biologically impossible to be us because it's a lineage, not some damn costume you can just put on to look cool. You immigrants and immigrant Americans has used our culture as an access card, a backstage pass to our culture. Now y'all have to look in the mirror. Our sense of humor, the aesthetics, mannerisms, the style of dress, the smoothness, the creativity, our genres of music, innovativeness, our slang, our warrior spirit by staying on our homeland and fighting and not fleeing to somebody else's land to beg for a better life and shit on the very people who fought to have us there. That's who we are. And we know who the hell y'all are waving your flag on our soil and fighting to make sure y'all don't go back.
You can't leech off our culture anymore. Beat it!
Mike Larry, man, you did it again. We really making history. Let's go. Do you like that? Do you like that? Flip your sound, how you like that? Do you like that? Do you like that? Say it loud, don't walk it back. Do you like that?
Do you like that?
You grew up mimicking us, now y'all switch it up. Turn the carbon copy, y'all ain't black, what the fuck? It's funny y'all connecting to our culture like it's Wi-Fi. Surfing on our waves of our culture, no more agua. Telling my culture for all these years. Look how time flies, all these colonizers in disguise. Y'all hate, y'all still hate us outside. Study dope, vampires, the blood of our gift. They copy the flavor, sip the juice. Love the results, hate the truth. Who? Do you like that? Flip your sound, how you like that? Do you like that? Democratic shields, talking points, the road they fill. Fish and chips, agent on the mic, judging FBAs, but ain't you half white? Talking like you one of us, we need a pool face. The agent type, with a prune face. Like 50 and Jim, it's a cold game. Throwing stones, cause we built our own lane. I'm joking, kinda, but I mean that. Smile calm, pressure intact. Y'all proud where y'all from. Where they flag, beat they drum. But when it's us, tone switch fast. Same pride, but it's too much. FBA pride, lineage solid. You can't put this on, can't try it on. Built here, stayed and fought, that's the difference. That's the car. Do you like that? Do you like that? Say it clear, don't twist the facts. Do you like that? Yeah. Do you like that? Do you like that? Point made. No edit. No care.
You know, erasing history is something that you have to do when it comes to conquest, domination, and destroying a people. If people knew who they were, what they were, and what they were capable of in the past, they will understand what they have a possibility or a likelihood of doing in the future.
Foundation of Black Americans, we've always had a culture of resistance. We cultivated a culture of resistance on this land, and we've been resisting ever since we've encountered European domination.
But nothing was really popping in Europe until the transatlantic slave trade, and that's where they amassed a lot of wealth.
One thing that I think is unique about our culture as far as how we resist, how we fight back is just the environment we were put in from day one. Being only 13% of the population, the white supremacists were very meticulous about keeping that population at a certain amount.
There was never a period when we did not resist the encroachment of the white man.
they have a natural behavior of authority no matter where they go. That's why they'll step up in front of us in the line at the store. We're not important. They don't even see us.
We've never been able to excel. We've never been able to relax. We've never been able to just be, which means that existence is resistance.
It must be something in our DNA, our historical background, to when something doesn't sit right with us, especially spiritually, in our souls and in our spirit, we just say no.
We live resistance. You know, from the moment we're born, we're in resistance. And it's handed down generation to generation.
And so I think that cultural resistance is actually in our DNA, in our epigenetics, and then it blossoms out into the culture.
So there's almost nothing in America that we do, from song to dance to politics to the way we talk, the way we dress, having coded languages considered to be slang today. Everything about Black American culture is a form of resistance.
Of course, they want to always downplay our contributions to the global tapestry because they continue to act like our number one export in this country is not Black innovation.
Everyone understands that our resistance has been the cornerstone of what foundational Black Americans have always done. We are the life that breathes everything into this nation.
The further back you go, the further Black you go. It's just simple like that, brother.
Introducing the B1 Rolodex, the easiest way to search for and support FBA and B1 businesses. Hundreds of entries from the Black grassroots for the Black grassroots. Free to use, free to download, constantly updated. Trouble navigating the document? Try using the map version. Notice a business missing? Use this simple Google form to submit an FBA or B1 business. Also submit anti-Black businesses, which are now being collected in that last tab. Find resources, contact numbers, and much more using the second tab. All the info you need to start practicing group economics today. Go to blacktruthunited.com. That's blacktruthunited.com.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Season 11, Episode 42 of Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced in conjunction with Frontline Black News. I'm your host and co-executive producer, Shabakas and Corey. We're joined by our other co-executive producer, the one and only Che Nkrumah, up out of Denver, Colorado, out of the Mile High City, and put the ponies back in the barn. And I'm coming to you.
Bottom of the hole to shit where they belong.
Well, they definitely shipwrecked. You'll get no argument from me, sir. You know, I'm saying only an idiot would argue with undisputed truth. Okay, and also too, ladies and gentlemen, where we're going to be starting in the future is that we're going to be having our Coon of the Week Club. Okay, let me make sure I got this here right. Yeah, okay, we're going to be having the wait a minute. Okay, what did I say, Brother Che? We're going to be having the Yassa Boss of the Month Club like Joe Lewis did, and boxing with his Bum of the Month Club. So therefore, people, in the chat rooms and what have you, if you know a Yassa Boss that needs to be roasted, this is the place to do it. Okay, and then also too, the air date of this episode is May 26, 2026. Okay, and then on top of the Juneteenth is ours. That ain't for no other group. All this bullshit about this being inclusive and all this old type of shit. No, it's bullshit because it countermands our fucking progress as a people. You say, okay, because we got to stand on our own square. We got to stand on our own business. You know, if we disagree, we disagree agreeably. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no love lost right here. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Brother Paris. He's going to go over, you know, our itinerary tonight. And please come up with, you know, if you know any coon of the week, please put it up there. And we'll definitely put the no good bastard on blast. Okay.
Yeah, we got Kevin Hart gets the Coon of the Week award.
Oh, okay. What's his violation? How did he fuck up? What did he do?
He allowed Nabisco to disrespect FBA and right in front of his face and didn't do nothing about it.
That's unacceptable. No, so that's unacceptable. Okay. He is guilty, you know, in our court. You know what I'm saying? He does not have the right to an appeal. And that's that Hollywood shit and what have you. And then speaking of Hollywood, shout out there to Denzel and Angela Bassett is because they're against that alphabetized agenda in Hollywood and keeping the men out of women's sports. Okay, Mr. Hart, you know, I know you're rich. You got a lot of money. But fuck you, Kevin Hart. I said it. You know what I'm saying? You know, our email address is up in there, man. You know, we on social media. And if you don't like it, you know, then send me your inbox, man, and we'll have your ass up here and we'll roast the shit out of you. Because the day of the Yasa Boss is over. You see what I'm saying?
It's not even funny. Only white people think he's funny. Black people don't think nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
But thank y'all for tuning in to season 11,
exactly.
episode 42 of Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced in conjunction with the Frontline Black News. We will be discussing several topics. The first one is Black Americans' reply to Africa using Legos about the slave trade. Africa and Iran dropped a Lego video revealing what Columbus said about Black people in America. U.S. strikes Iran again during ongoing peace talks. Pope Leo XIV apologizes for Catholic Church's role in slavery. Foreigners paying more. South Africa just lost it. March and March fans urge their leader to sue Phillip Scott, Uncle Phil, for labeling them xenophobic. Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, Floyd Mayweather responds to $175 million being stolen from him in lawsuit and goes off.
Right.
50 Cent responds to Floyd Mayweather's $175 million scam loss and sends shots. Call me when you get it together or something. What can we learn from Floyd's money problems and an Ebola update? And we are based out of East Denver. We are based out of East Denver, North Aurora, Colorado, getting news from a frontline and Black First perspective. We are part of the frontline of the new Black media and also the signal boosters of the new Black media. We have been around for 6 seasons now and counting, and we have several platforms that are part of the frontline campaign. Frontline Black News being one of the first, which we started back in 2020, 2021. And Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced, which this is based on the 50th anniversary of the founding of the original Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. We started on Blog Talk Radio back in 2016 and have been around for 11 seasons now. Shabakas Black Experience Enhanced covers the Black experience from the beginning of time until 10 minutes ago. It is also part of the Frontline campaign and has recently, within the last 2 to 3 years, moved from Blog Talk Radio to StreamYard. Please make sure y'all like and share the broadcast, family. Remember, family, hit that like and share and subscribe button. Yes, Amaru, we all hear you. Please join us on StreamYard.
Yeah, Amaru want to get on TV.
Come on, Ruru.
Yeah. He wants to get on TV like the MGM line.
How big he is.
He getting big. Man.
Big boy.
Yeah, it looking like, man, he weighing every damn bit of about 40 pounds.
That's what I'm saying.
He's a heavyweight kitty.
Yeah, he getting too big.
He's a heavyweight kitty. Okay, Amaru. All right. Okay, so therefore, you know, these coons, these Yasa bosses and all that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to start calling them out because they're getting too redundant with their bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And then what a misconception is that I'm seeing on social media, people are thinking that these individuals speak for us as a whole, and that is not the fucking case. Do you see what I'm saying? Kevin Hart don't speak for me. You know what I'm saying? And what have you. But, you know, Hollywood is Hollywood. It does what it does. You see, just like I was looking at the old race films where they were talking about Bill Bojangles and Shirley Temple and all that, man. If that wasn't some damn Yassa Boss and shit, man, my name ain't Shabaka San Carter. Okay. And then, you know.
Finish the intro.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. We love Amaru, Sister Val. Yes. Cardenas is in the building. Said, "What up, though? Frontline Black News." Brother Jesse, did you get any rest after the marathon live stream? Not really. I mean, 4 hours.
Yeah, I had to throw in the towel, Mr. Cardenas. You know, I was just out of it. You know what I'm saying? And what have you? You know, but I'm on meds. You know what I'm saying?
So please don't our YouTube Frontline Black News. The links to all of our channels are in the description, including Frontline Black News. Frontline Black News 2, our backup channel. Make sure y'all sub to the backup channel, Frontline Black News 2, just in case they try to take Frontline Black News down again. Then we got my personal page, Jesse Parrish, aka Chan Kruma. That's how we stream all the city council meetings for Denver and Aurora, and local Denver and Aurora Black events, and whatever I feel like streaming for today on my personal page. Then we got Lady Chase, Seduction Doll YouTube channel, Seduction Doll 5991. Make sure y'all sub to that so she can start going live on YouTube, on that YouTube channel. Then her main channel, the RBA, the Revolutionary Agenda. Make sure y'all sub to that. She should be dropping an RBA sometime this week. But in the meantime, make sure y'all check out her past episodes. She's been covering them data centers extensively. Then we got Shabaka's YouTube channel, Jeanette 1. Make sure y'all sub to that so Shabaka can start going live again on YouTube. Then we got our cousin or local star out the Bay Area, Jay Militant. Make sure y'all sub to his channel.
Hey, Jay.
And the link to his channel is in the description. Then we got our brother Kukizi out the Mile High, Bellside, Montbello to be exact. Kukizi 5100, who came up with the B1, excuse me, not the B1, the FBA Culture Reports. And he is an MC and a rap artist out of Denver, Colorado. Make sure y'all check him out. Then we got our brother who's live right now, Breeze Omega, out of VA, Virginia, by way of Hempstead, Long Island. And he just surpassed 1,000 subscribers. Salute to Breeze. That's my brother from another mother. Make sure y'all check him out. Then we got our brother Church of Black Power, who's originally from Watts, California, Jordan Downs. He's now in Houston, Texas. Make sure y'all sub to his channel. He just surpassed 3,000 subscribers. Should be almost at 4,000 now. He shows us love, so we show him love back. Then we got our brother Torian Reloaded, who's been around for a good decade now, and he put Lisa Cabrera on, and he drops similar content to what we do over here. So make sure y'all check him out, Torian Rain Reloaded. He's out the DMV area. And last but certainly not least, we got our brother Black Troops United, who's been on hiatus, but did come up with the B1 Rolodex, which I displayed the ad for, which is a modern-day green book for FBA and B1 businesses. And yours truly is in it. And the link to submit your business to the Rolodex is in the description. And the link to the Rolodex itself is in the description. Then we got Council the Congressional Black Caucus and create a foundational Black American caucus. Sign the petition. The link is in the description, and it's been long overdue. Then we got the Anti-Reparations Fund link, with the J6ers are applying for to get reparations for them storming the Capitol. Well, we can apply for it too. So the link to that is in the description. Were you the target of politically motivated actions by the Biden DOJ? Was the Biden DOJ weaponized against you? Yes, especially for that jabby jab. So yeah, we can sue that. Then we got it's call to action in New York. Make sure y'all submit those letters and those emails and get that Freemansboro off the ground in New York State and get them reparation checks out immediately to New York Flbn. And the links to that is in the description. Then we got Lady Chase GoFundMe. The link to her GoFundMe is in the description. Donate to that if you haven't already. Then we got standing with our brother Joshua, who put hands and feet all over that Nabisco Chut the Bussy and caused him to shoot himself after he shot our brother Joshua. So we're standing with Joshua and family after the shooting from Dalton, aka Chut the Bussy. And the link to his GoFundMe is in the description. And then we got Stop Netflix from releasing damaging docu-series about Michael Jackson.
Exactly.
Petition. The link is also in the description. Then we got myself. Support me, Jesse Parrish, for House of Representatives in the state of Colorado for House District 8. I don't know why my background isn't working right, but y'all get the memo. I am on the ballot for office here in the state of Colorado for House District 8, House of Representatives. And the link to my website is in the description. And then we got copyright.
Okay.
Then we got copyright. Disclaimer on the Section 107 Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. And I do not own the rights to the music. And if you don't understand racism and white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything else you think you understand will only confuse you. In all 9 areas of human or people activity, 9 or 10 areas of human people activity, and that's economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war, and some say health and nutrition. In all 9 or 10 areas of human or people activity, and that was by Mr. Neely Fuller Jr., who transitioned exactly a year ago, or over a year ago now, at the age of 95. ProduceJustice.com. I showed y'all the book, the Compensatory Code Concept book for victims of racism and white supremacy. Produce justice. In other words, replace this global wicked system with a system of justice, which guarantees that nobody's mistreated and those that need the most constructive help get it in a constructive manner. And when you, a Black person, are captured by any white soldier, you must never fuss, fight, or flee. Comply and defend yourself in court, also by Neely Fuller Jr. ProduceJustice.com. And last but certain not least, we got our master teacher, our queen, master teacher, warrior, scholar, Dr. Frances Cress Wilson, who transitioned exactly a decade ago at the age of 80 and would have been 90 a month ago. And she's the one that racism, white supremacy is conscious and subconscious behavior to maintain white genetic survival, to prevent white genetic annihilation. And shout out to our FBA brother Tariq Nasheed out of Los Angeles, California, for paying for her funeral, along with several others. So those are the topics. Make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button. All right, Shabaka. The first one is a Legos video. It's Black Americans responding to Africans about the slave trade.
Okay. Oh, yeah, and definitely shout out there to Jay Dizzle, you know.
Yes. Yeah, shout out to Jay Dizzle. Make sure y'all check out Liberated Minded Media and Necker Cat on YouTube.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the video.
Africa, we heard your voice. We know where the chains began, but we also know where the scars continued. This is our reply from across the ocean. We grew up with missing names and broken bloodlines. Families erased from history. Identities redesigned. They sold our ancestors. Then laws kept us confined. Now we speak with truth so the world can recognize.
We are the children of survival,
built from pain, struggle, labor, and revival. From cotton fields to city streets,
we carried the title.
Black Americans speaking back with truth in every cycle.
We remember the shifts,
we remember the change,
we remember the nations
that benefited from our pain.
But we also remember our strength remains.
Our ancestors were taken from West Africa by European traders working with African kingdoms and middlemen who captured rival tribes and sold human beings for profit, men, women, and children.
And they got captured too.
Transatlantic slave trade, millions died before reaching American soil. Those who survived into plantations in the United States where slavery became an economic machine. Their labor built wealth for plantation owners, banks, insurance companies, railroads, and governments. Black Americans were stripped of New languages, religions, family names, and tribal identities. Slave owners separated parents from children to prevent rebellion and destroy cultural memory. Enslaved people work from sunrise to night under violence, whip, starvation, and public punishment. After slavery ended in 1865, freedom still came with oppression. Black Americans faced black codes, segregation, lynching, and voter suppression. Schools were separated, housing was restricted, wealth was denied through discriminatory policies. Many black communities were burned during racial massacres like Tulsa. Even after military service in American wars, black veterans returned home to racism and unequal treatment during the civil rights movement. Leaders marched, protested, and died, demanding equal rights under the law. So when Africa speaks about the slave trade, understand we carry the consequences every generation. Our music, culture, language, and identity were created from survival inside a nation that profited from our ancestors' suffering. This history is not entertainment for us. It is inherited trauma mixed with resilience.
We search for roots they buried deep below, trying to rebuild what the slave ships stole. Different accents, same blood in our souls, separated by ocean but connected through the struggle. We are the children of survival, built from pain, struggle, labor, and revival.
From cotton fields to city streets,
we carry the title. Black Americans speaking back with truth in every cycle. We remember the shifts, we remember the change, we remember the nations that benefited from our pain. But we also remember our strength remains.
Yeah, some black Americans feel anger toward Africa because history taught us that some Africans participated in capturing and selling other Africans. That truth cannot be ignored. But we also understand colonial powers expanded greed, warfare, and division across the continent. European empires industrialized slavery and transformed human lives into global commerce. America continued that system for centuries and built national wealth from unpaid labor. Today, many black Americans still face inequality in education, healthcare, policing, employment, and generational wealth. Yet despite slavery, segregation, and discrimination,
black Americans created influential music, literature, sports, inventions, businesses, and political movements that shaped global culture. We turned suffering into influence, heard around the world.
This reply is not about hatred toward Africa.
It is about honesty.
We want acknowledgement of every side of the history.
We want understanding instead of silence.
The descendants of enslaved Africans in America
are still searching for connection,
identity, and healing after centuries of displacement.
No more hiding history.
No more.
No more rewriting pain. The truth belongs to every generation.
Africa and Black America
must speak openly so healing can begin. We survived the shifts, we survived the change, we survived the loss designed to keep us restrained.
Now the descendants speak
with the voices they could not contain.
From Africa to America, the story is connected forever. The wounds are real, so is the bloodline.
Black Americans reply not with silence,
and Roebuck was black,
but with remembrance.
You tell us remember Africa, but how do we remember a home that helped sell us away? This is the anger they never let us
be
speak.
held accountable too for allowing themselves to get their heads bumped.
You say we lost our roots in America, but some of those roots were cut before the
Brother Jay, who did the graphics on this right here? This is some good work.
That pain never disappeared.
I think it was Iran, Shabaka.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is some good work.
We got questions for Africa.
Questions built from chains and graves.
How did black hands help Europeans build the slave trade?
How
the kingdoms trade lives for guns and wealth.
Now generations carry wounds that never heal.
And Black Americans
Still live with what we see.
Our anger did not begin in America. It began the moment African captives were marched to coastal prisons while African traders and rulers negotiated with European slave merchants. The truth is difficult, but history records that some African kingdoms participated in capturing rivals, prisoners of war in vulnerable communities to exchange them for weapons, cloth, alcohol, and economic advantage. Black Americans grew up hearing only part of the story. We were taught about white slave owners, plantations, and racism in America. But many of us later discovered that Africans also stood at the beginning of that chain. That realization created confusion, sorrow, and anger inside generations of descendants who already felt abandoned by history. Our ancestors screamed inside slave ships while traders counted profits. Families disappeared forever, languages vanished. Spiritual systems were destroyed. Bloodlines were erased from memory. Then after centuries passed, Black Americans were expected to simply reconnect emotionally to a continent connected to the beginning of their suffering. That is not hatred toward African people today. It is grief carried through generations. Many Black Americans feel disconnected because they do not know their tribe's nation or true family origin. We inherited the trauma,
but not the identity.
We inherited the struggle,
but not the names. America enslaved us. Europe financed it.
Europe financed it.
But some Africans supplied it.
That truth.
And they got captured too. And they got their heads bombed.
Questions built from chains and graves.
How did black hands help Europeans build the slave trade?
How did kingdoms trade?
Lies for guns and wealth. Now generations carry wounds that never heal.
And Black Americans
still live with what was sealed.
Black Americans spent centuries fighting to survive racism, segregation, lynching, mass incarceration, and discrimination, while also carrying unanswered questions about Africa's role in the slave trade. Some of us wonder whether our ancestors cried out for help that never came. Some wonder if greed and tribal conflicts became stronger than unity. History shows that European empires expanded and industrialized slavery on a massive scale. But the trade also depended on local systems that provided human beings to the coast. Without that cooperation, the scale of the transatlantic slave trade may not have reached millions. That fact remains painful for descendants trying to understand their history. Honestly, today, some Black Americans feel frustration when Africans speak about unity without acknowledging the emotional damage caused by this history. We are told to reconnect while still carrying inherited sorrow from betrayal, displacement, and cultural destruction. Healing requires honesty from every side, not selective memory.
We are not speaking from hate.
Now what happened? Okay.
Resistance and isolation from ancestral origins.
That pain
still echoes through generations, searching for truth.
No more incomplete history.
No more incomplete history.
No more silence around responsibility.
Truth is uncomfortable,
but truth
is necessary for healing. We remember the ships. We remember the chains. We remember who bought us and who helped send us away.
That pain
still lives in Black America today.
This is not revenge.
This is not revenge.
This is remembrance.
This is not revenge.
The descendants are finally speaking with honesty history tried to bury.
Alrighty. Couldn't have said it better myself. What you thought, Shabaka?
Okay. All right. Well, like we said, Brother Che, when we first started, the Black experience is the most dynamic experience in the history of mankind. After all of what we have been through, okay, we're still here. And not so much in the US, but around the whole fucking world. And then these other groups, they hate us. And as you so well put it, they want our rhythm, but they don't want our blues. You see what I'm saying?
In the US, they want our rhythm and they don't want our blues. You keep exempt the US. You keep saying, not only just the US. No, we are the foundation of this country as well. If we've been all over the world, we navigate the
world,
then why are we not the original hearer? It just makes no sense.
Okay, but what it is, though, Brother Che, is that they don't want us to realize the power that we have. Okay, like, how could I put this here to you? Okay, a skilled marksman. Okay, whoa. Tell you what, yeah, Muhammad Ali is the classic example of it. Okay. They stripped Ali of the prime of his career, like they strip us of the prime of our youth, like with the Jim Crowism, the mass incarceration, the medical apartheid. You see what I'm saying? Like we was discussing last night, in regard to Lady Che. They want to steal all our science, technology, and sit up there and tell us, that we got to pray to an image of a white man for our salvation. In the beginning, we had the land. The Euro had the Bible. We bowed our heads and we closed our eyes to pray. Hey, Michael, when we opened up our eyes and rose our heads, we had the Bible and the European had the land. And not only did he do it in Africa, he also did it here in the United States with the indigenous people here.
Yeah, with the Black indigenous already here. And we can't have no unity. We keep hearing, we need unity.
Right.
We can't no unity until this stuff is reconciled. Africa has to acknowledge their role in the slave trade that they did.
Exactly, and they got to be held accountable. Yeah, you are absolutely correct on that. You're saying 6, I'm saying half dozen in the other, most definitely. Like that bastard that came up there to Washington, New York City. Was that at the UN, Brother Che, where the sisters got out there with the bullhorn on them and telling them motherfuckers about themselves, about the trinkets and the alcohol. The trinkets and the alcohol. So yeah, that makes me very, very fucking angry with you motherfuckers on the continent, okay, of falling for that bullshit. You see, and a fucked up part about it is, look at the fucking havoc that you cause, and you still are letting the motherfuckers coming in there to this very goddamn day to do the same bullshit. But you sitting up there, white Jesus, man, Kenneth Copeland. Yeah, like the motherfuckers sitting down there bowing down to Kenneth Copeland. Motherfuckers needed asses whipped for that shit. So once again, Brother Che, you're saying 6, I'm saying half dozen in the other. You say, and then when it comes to medicine, Imhotep, the world's first physician. You see what I mean? Yeah, you see. And then we had stated a while back where you were saying is how did that AO, get inside the sarcophagus, inside the tombs. Okay, the sarcophagus, if I'm saying it right. Okay, maybe Imhotep, man, it got together with one of the generals or the admirals, man. Well, hey, man, we found this place right here. We came across a substance that could help dull pain when we perform surgery. That there is just a theory. You see what I'm saying? In my
substance, unless they have been on. There's only one where you can find that.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying, Jay. Yeah, see, so I'm in agreement with you on that, but you see, we gave the world the concept of navigation, the concept of medical work, the concept of embalming the dead. You know what I'm saying? That came from us, but they don't ever want us to acknowledge nothing, the contributions that we made, not do so much to the U.S. They don't want us to acknowledge the contributions that we made to Asia. They don't want to acknowledge us the contributions we made to that shithole called Europe. And then that brain dead, dope fiend motherfucker Ben Carson who got up there with his loaded ass. Well, we came here in search of the American dream via the slave ships. Good boy. But however, it is what it is. You see what I mean? You know.
That's not the same thing. That's against our will.
Yeah, exactly. You say, and then just like with the imitation of life, you know what I'm saying? Where the black girl hated her mama, and at the end, oh, forgive me, but they forgot, and I forgot to mention in the scene that they showed in the remake of it, where the white boy found out that she was black and how he beat her to a pulp. I mean, it was a very, very brutal scene of how he beat her to the pulp. But then again, though, hey, Michael, what's going on?
We got Val Hawkins in the building. We got Mac 285 in the building, and we got Cardenas in the building.
Okay, all right. So we got our usual crew. Greetings to y'all. Welcome to Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. And then also, too, well, we're starting the Yasa Boss of the Month Club. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we got to have the Yasa Boss of the Month Club. Okay, Tim Scott, you know, he's up, you know, number one, you know, for this month. You know what I'm saying? And
for this month, I mean, unless you talking about politicians or you just talking about in general.
Okay, politicians, sellouts, movie actors, entertainers, you know, pretty much anything up there in what they would call public figures. You see what I mean? It's because they cannot implement this Ma'afa without them. And like I said, I'm still getting in touch with Dr. Ani, and it's very, very difficult to get in touch with her. So I don't know if she's on hiatus or not, you know, or if she's downright retired. You know what I mean? Then on top of it, too, when you got Kit Kats, you know what I'm saying? Remember, when it comes to the kitty cats, that you are their pet. They're not your pet. You're their pet. The Lady Che is going to disagree with me on that. Okay. Now, Pope Leo, the Roman Catholic Church.
Hold on, you're jumping a little bit. I got another Lego video to play.
All right, let's come up with the other Lego video. Okay.
Trump needs to issue exactly, Michael. Yep. That's
wait a minute. I think he can do it through the executive branch, Michael. I think Trump can do it through the executive branch. Yeah.
So this next one is about basically it's Africa and Iran dropped the Lego video revealing what Columbus said about black people in America.
Okay. Well, he was a drunk. What did that drunk bastard say?
That we were already here. But let's see what the Lego video said.
This is not fiction. This is own journals. The African presence in America existed long before slavery. The evidence has always been there. Read the record.
The journals hold the record, documented and sealed. Columbus wrote the evidence that centuries concealed. Black people stood in America before the chains were made,
before the slave ships loaded,
before the auction and the trade.
Columbus saw
the evidence, he wrote it with his hand.
African civilization,
African civilization had already walked this land.
Yeah, in 1492, Columbus crossed the Atlantic under Spanish Royal Commission. He arrived along the shores of the Caribbean on a formal exploratory mission. The indigenous Arawak people of Hispaniola provided them with direct information. They reported that black men had come from the south and reached the nation. Columbus recorded this testimony inside his ship log as a phone journal entry. Black men had arrived before him and were trading gold across that open territory. The spear tips those African men carried were forged from a substance called guano, a blended alloy of gold, copper, and silver identical to what West Africans were trading. Columbus collected samples of this guano metal and transported them to Spain for testing. Portuguese royal metallurgists examined the material and confirmed the composition was matching. The same formula produced in Guinea, West Africa.
The same precisely measure ratio.
Gold, copper, and silver combined and documented.
This was evidence, not a scenario.
The Mali Empire dispatched Abu Bakr II across the Atlantic in 1311. He abdicated his throne and set sail, commanding 2,000 boats and vessels. Ibn Khaldun, the North African historian, preserved this expedition in formal written record.
Abu Bakr II departed westward, and that documented account has never been ignored. The journals hold the record, documented and sealed.
Columbus wrote the evidence.
Columbus wrote the evidence that centuries concealed. Black people stood in America before the chains were made, before the slave ships loaded, before the auction and the trade. Oh, Columbus saw the evidence.
I'm on sea, water.
African civilization had already walked this land.
The Olmec civilization of ancient Mexico, carved African facial features directly in the stone. 17 giant basalt heads identified, broad noses, full lips.
Standing alone.
Ivan Van Sertima published his academic research findings in 1976. It came before Columbus. Documented scholarship the academic world could not fix. Levanta, Santa Renzo, Tracer Coats, whole colossal heads is permanent testimony.
African physiological characteristics preserved in ancient Mexican stone.
Without ceremony,
Columbus
on his second voyage, recorded edition, no accounts of black populations in the region. Indigenous tribes across multiple Caribbean islands gave consistent testimony
without deviation.
Harvard University scholar Leah Weiner published his 3-volume research in
1920.
Africa and the discovery of America.
Linguistic evidence documented clearly and openly.
He traced many vocabulary rooted in West Africa, embedded inside indigenous American languages.
Mandinka was confirmed inside Caribbean and Central American tribal passages.
The Mandinka people of the Mali Empire sailed westward centuries before Columbus reached any shore. Persian geographer Al-Idrisi in 1154 mapped African civilizations, trade routes, and more. He documented maritime networks across the African continent with verified academic precision. African ocean navigation was advanced. Crossing open water was an established decision.
Columbus wrote it down.
The journals
carry all the proof.
Black people were already present,
and that remains the truth.
The Bonanano confirmed
transatlantic African contact.
The Olmec heads
preserve African features in stone. Abu Bakr
to sail west
in 1311. Ibn Khaldun
recorded it.
Leah Weiner documented it.
Al-Idrisi mapped it.
This is history, unedited, unfiltered, documented.
Before slavery ships crossed the Atlantic, black people were already described in the Americas. Ancient maps, journals, and witnesses. The presence long before colonial history rewrote the story. Christopher Columbus wrote about dark-skinned people during his voyages across the Atlantic. European explorers described indigenous groups with African features and documented stories about black traders already living in parts of the Americas. Some historians point to reports from Columbus mentioning people who carried metal spear tips believed to come from African trade networks. The Olmec stoneheads in Mexico became part of this debate because of their facial structure. Researchers have argued for decades about whether African sailors crossed oceans before European empires began colonization. West African maritime knowledge existed long before Columbus sailed. The Mali Empire under Mansa, Abu Bakr was connected to stories of Atlantic expeditions leaving from West Africa centuries before Spain funded Columbus. African navigation was not primitive. African kingdoms traded across deserts and seas. Scholars from Timbuktu documented astronomy, mathematics,
and navigation systems. North African and Persian sailors connected trade routes stretching from East Africa to Asia. Long before colonial Europe claimed global discovery.
Now I'd like to ask Michael on some of that
When
there,
Europeans
brother.
arrived in the Americas, they encountered civilizations already established. Colonial governments later rewrote history to remove African influence and justify slavery. European powers needed Africans to prepare, disconnected from
Civilization.
so the slave trade could expand without resistance.
Textbooks.
Reduced African history to chains and plantations while ignoring empires, libraries, engineers,
Sailors and explorers.
the transatlantic slave trade then became one of the largest forced migrations in human history. Millions of Africans were captured, transported, and sold across the Americas. Entire cultures were broken apart, but African traditions survived through language, music, religion, farming techniques, and resistance movements.
History was edited by conquerors. The records that survive tell another story. Africa was never absent from world civilization. Its people were connected to global history long before colonial rule. Black history in America did not begin with slavery.
That is the truth.
Many systems tried to bury
African civilizations existed
before colonial borders
African knowledge
crossed oceans.
before modern empires.
Empires.
The past is larger than the version taught in classrooms.
The evidence continues to challenge old narratives.
Iranian scholars, African historians, and independent researchers have revisited historical records that Western institutions ignored for generations. They examined ancient travel accounts, shipping routes, oral histories, and early colonial writings. There were questions why African contributions to world history were removed from mainstream education. For centuries, European empires controlled publishing, archaeology, and education systems. Colonial governments funded interpretations that centered Europe as the origin of civilization. African achievements were minimized but reassigned to outsiders. Ancient Egypt was disconnected from Africa in many textbooks.
It ain't Egypt, it's Kemet. Egypt is a Greek word.
In the Americas, enslaved Africans built infrastructure, cultivated crops, and shaped economies that enriched European powers. Rice cultivation techniques used in the American South came from West African
Agricultural expertise, African blacksmithing, architecture, music, and spirituality survived.
Despite slavery laws designed
To erase identity, resistance never stopped. From Haiti
to Brazil
to the United States,
enslaved Africans fought rebellions,
preserved traditions, and built communities under violent systems.
Figures like Toussaint Louverture proved that enslaved people were not passive victims. They organized revolutions that changed world history. Today, historians continue debating early African presence in the Americas. But the larger truth remains undeniable. Africa influenced world civilization long before colonization.
The modern struggle is about restoring erased history and challenging narratives built during imperial rule. They remove names from records, they remove kingdoms from lessons, but evidence keeps surviving. History cannot stay buried forever.
The story of Black people in America is older than slavery ships,
Older,
and colonial borders, older than the systems that profited from silence. The debate continues because history was never fully destroyed.
the past still speaks through documents, ruins, traditions, and memory. The fight over history continues because truth changes how people understand power, identity, and civilization.
All righty. So that Lego video already prove that we were already here.
Shalom, family. Good to see you.
Well, we check. You saying 6? I'm saying half dozen. We had circumnavigated the whole fucking globe, and then also too, there was a dude, man, that I was speaking with from the Hawaiian Islands. Born and raised there, right? And he was saying, hell yeah, he was saying, hell yeah, y'all got a whole lot of history in Hawaii, And then, what was the cat that they suppressed? I think it was King Kamehameha. They suppressed him is because I think His Majesty the King and his royal family was acknowledging that. You see what I'm saying? But we still got one missing link, you guys. And I have to say, now you know where I'm getting ready to go with this missing link. This is for the sake
of the again.
Yeah, the C curve. Yeah, so the C curve. Okay, I have to mention the C curve. I have to mention the C curve.
Those are Siberians, Shabaka. You always mention this shit. I give you the same answer. Those are $5 Indians.
$5.
They're not indigenous lands. If they were so indigenous, they wouldn't be getting deported right now as we speak. They're deporting people on them goddamn reservations right now. Like, no, them not original. We are the original people here. There's plenty of evidence to back that up. And that video showed that.
Okay, then it sounds like to me that Jailbird 1, man, needs to be deporting its main passenger, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
On Jailbird, who's the main passenger on Jailbird 1? Yeah. Okay, Brother Che, continue with the show, man. I have to take this call, please.
All right. So we got plenty of evidence to back up that we were already here. So shout out to Africa and Iran for dropping this Lego video that revealed what Columbus said about Black people being already in America before he even got over to this part of the world. They're using the maps that the Moors had established thousands, hundreds and thousands of years prior. So, moving along, we got U.S. strikes Iran again during ongoing peace talks. Yes, Amaru, we all hear you. So Lisa gonna give us an update on that.
You all here, hope you're doing well. Just want to make a reminder that today is the final day of the sale for hair products. So if you need anything, grab it up for 40% off on Etsy, Shopify, and TikTok Shop. So y'all, we're going to get into this next video. Last night, I was just watching a few videos and getting caught up. And I got a news flash that Donald Trump bombed Iran. And I'm like, here we go again. Here we go again. Earlier, it's peace talk this and peace talk that. And then you turned around and bombed these people. And you want to know why they're asking for Obama? He doesn't want to believe he's the one causing it. But he is. So they bombed some facilities, and you got to kind of proceed with caution with Donald Trump because he lies so much. They spoke about areas that they took out, and one of them is, I think, a place where they had their missiles or made their missiles. But I don't all the way believe Donald Trump. He has lied so much. Remember, they have no military, they have no Navy, they have no Air Force. For a place that don't have anything, they sure know how to fire back at your ass because they shot down 2 drones and they shot at an F-35 after Donald Trump had bombed them first. So, y'all, it's like, here we go again. It's Even the media is calling these peace talks weak. And it's not going nowhere. It's not going to go anywhere because if Donald Trump keeps bombing these people, they're not going to be open to negotiating with them at all. And the Straits of Hormuz will remain closed. I mean, as long as it's been closed, y'all, it is not going to make any impact, even if they open up right now. It probably won't be until sometime in 2027 before you might see a little bit of headway. But it's been closed so many times and for too long. It's going to take probably a good year and a half for people to get caught up on their gas and oil. So, and America's not doing all that great either, because I'm hearing more gas stations are showing signs of being out of fuel. And Donald Trump's still telling us not that much fuel comes from that region. He's clearly lying, as usual. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's see here. Sure I have it. Yeah, I do. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
So, Donald Trump decided to conduct a military strike against Iran today in the name of self-defense.
Welcome to a special edition of CNN Newsroom. I'm Brianna Keeler, and we have breaking news. Explosions rock Iran. U.S. Central Command just confirming that U.S. forces targeted Iranian military facilities responsible for launching a series of attacks against American warships in the Strait of Hormuz. Iranian state media had reported blasts that were heard in the border city of Bandar Abbas. That's home to a key Iranian naval and air base along the strait. Iranian state media also reporting explosions in other cities as well. The attacks coming as intense discussions are underway tonight to end the war in Iran, but a deal is not in place. Iran's top security official declaring tonight, quote, "There will be no retreat." And there's
Guess that means we won't be getting cheaper gas prices anytime soon, because Donald Trump once again decided to restart the war between the United States and Iran. Yeah, and good luck to him getting the nuclear dust that he said we were about to get and bring over here to be destroyed. I have never, ever in my life seen so much incompetence coming out of one administration like I'm seeing right now. Every day, we're about 2 weeks away from this conflict ending, only for Donald Trump to make a mockery out of the United States by restarting the conflict on Memorial Day. This is truly pathetic, to say the least.
So somebody said, how will this war ever end? And how will we come to some type of peaceful agreement if the U.S. keeps launching new attacks on Iran? Now, the attacks that people are hearing about is Monday. Yesterday, U.S. announced that they launched new strikes in southern Iran, targeting their missile sites and a few boats that was trying to lay mines. Now, if you remember early in the year, Iran laid a bunch of mines throughout the Strait of Hormuz, so none of the ships, cargo ships and transport boats will be able to go through there safely without worrying about where those mines were located. The U.S. supposedly went in there, got up all the mines, and said they would prevent any new ones from being placed. That's what supposedly went on Monday. Now, the U.S. Central Command did make a statement, and he said that those strikes were considered self-defense, designed to protect the U.S. troops against threats posed by the Iranian troops. So that's what that was. If you didn't know, Now you know. And knowing is half the battle. Love y'all. Be safe out there. Big Duke out. You already know. Thank me later.
Heard in the border city of Bandar Abbas. That's home to a key Iranian naval and air base along the strait. Iranian state media also reporting explosions in other cities as well. The attacks coming as intense discussions are underway tonight to end the war in Iran, but a deal is not in place. Iran's top security official declaring tonight, quote, there will be no retreat. And there's this from President Trump.
These incredible men and women gave their lives to ensure that the world's #1 state sponsor of terror will never have a nuclear weapon. Oh, and they won't.
Well, after weeks of intense diplomacy between the U.S. and Iran, these overnight strikes by U.S. forces really threatens this already fragile ceasefire between Washington and Tehran, who did seem to be heading towards some kind of an agreement to end the war. Now, in a statement to CBS News from CENTCOM, it said, and I'm quoting here, targets included missile launch sites and Iranian boats attempting to emplace mines. U.S. Central Command continues to defend our forces while using restraint during the ongoing ceasefire. Now, for the U.S., it seems the ceasefire still holds, but the strikes were carried out as Iranian leaders met with Qatari officials in the capital, Doha, for what's been described as intense U.S.-backed talks over the fate of the Strait of Hormuz, Iran's frozen assets, and its nuclear program. And this morning, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard said it would not only retaliate against any ceasefire violations, but that it had also shot down a U.S. drone and fired at a U.S. fighter jet that had entered its airspace. Now, we have no way of independently verifying that, but just a few weeks ago, U.S. and Iranian forces opened fire on each other, and the ceasefire continued to hold.
Negotiations currently underway. Late last night, the United States bombed Iranian targets. We attacked Iran, ostensibly, allegedly, in self-defense. But this comes as Donald Trump insists that the peace deal is 95% done. And now Iran is threatening military retaliation of their own. So it sure seems like that remaining 5% of the peace deal is basically where all of the peace deal is. The part that we don't have. The 95% that we allegedly do have doesn't really seem to mean much at all if we're actually still attacking one another kinetically. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. Yep, Mediaite reports U.S. bombs Iran hours after negotiators arrive for peace talks. The U.S. bombed Iranian targets on Monday, including missile launch sites and boats trying to lay mines, U.S. Central Command said. CENTCOM claimed the boats were laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz, which Iran closed shortly after the U.S. and Israel started bombing the country. A ceasefire agreement was implemented last month, though occasional fire has been exchanged. The latest strikes came just hours after Iranian negotiators arrived in Qatar, the New York Times reported, stating, hours after Iranian negotiators arrived in Qatar for talks on ending the war, U.S. forces struck missile launch sites in Iran and boats trying to emplace mines, American officials said Monday night. U.S. Central Command characterized the strikes in southern Iran as defensive and said that they'd been intended, quote, to protect our troops from threats posed by Iranian forces. U.S. Central Command continues to defend our forces while using restraint during the ongoing ceasefire, said Captain Tim Hawkins, a Central Command spokesperson. The Times noted that the bombings came as Israel is planning to escalate its war on Lebanon. Iran has insisted that any ceasefire include Lebanon, which Israel invaded in April. Donald Trump has claimed that the U.S. and Iran are nearing a deal, but Iranian officials have said that no deal is imminent. The two biggest points of contention are the Strait of Hormuz and Iran's nuclear material, which remains under rubble after the U.S. and Israel bombed nuclear sites in last June. Publicly, Trump officials have insisted Iran was on the verge of making nuclear weapons, even though U.S. intelligence officials concluded that Iran was not close to doing so. So that's where we are with things. And then, of course, as the conservative Wall Street Journal is noting, Iran warns of retaliation after U.S. strikes. The attacks, which happened amid ongoing negotiations between Washington and Tehran, targeted sites in southern Iran. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps vowed to retaliate against the violations of the ceasefire after a renewed bout of fighting in which the U.S. struck missile launchers in southern Iran. In Monday's exchange of fire, the U.S. sank two Revolutionary Guard ships it said were attempting to lay mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran responded by launching surface-to-air missiles at U.S. planes, prompting American attacks on missile launchers, a U.S. official said. Meanwhile, the U.S. Navy is quietly assisting vessel crossings through the strait, according to U.S. military officials. Diplomatic efforts towards a deal were set to continue despite the fighting, with
So you know that over the weekend, Donald Trump touted there was some sort of a ceasefire being agreed upon. And while that was happening, Pete Hegseth, I'm assuming, was approving more bombings and attacks on Iranian missile sites and other locations around Iran. In fact, there's video from Iran of them shooting down U.S. drones. So if this ceasefire deal falls apart, I'm going to go ahead and blame Pete Hegseth for that, on top of Donald Trump just being too stupid to be able to negotiate with a foreign country. Also, the last people on planet Earth that wants a ceasefire is Israel. Israel can't accomplish what they need to accomplish with Iran in the picture, right? So anything they can do to sabotage that, they're going to do that. So keep your eyes on that news. I highly anticipate the ceasefire talk falling apart. So while your gas prices are not set by the president, their actions affect them. Their actions can bring them up or bring them down. And Trump's actions have done nothing but bring them up from the start of his presidency. There's no money for veterans, disabled, elderly, homeless, sick. There's no money for Americans, but there's always enough money for war, for billion-dollar ballrooms that we were promised we wouldn't have to pay for. There's always enough money for rich people in war. Oh, and call your Democratic elected officials and tell them not to let Donald Trump and Elon fuck with our midterms. Don't forget to subscribe to my Instagram channel. And if you'd like to make individual contributions or donations, you can do that to my Cash App or Venmo in my link tree.
While it looked like diplomacy was working just yesterday, the war in Iran escalated significantly overnight, with the U.S. military launching new strikes. According to Central Command, the U.S. targeted missile launchers in southern Iran and destroyed Iranian ships attempting to place mines in the Persian Gulf, claiming they were threatening American forces. CENTCOM said the strikes were done in self-defense and with restraint. Iran's Revolutionary Guard quickly responded, saying it considers its right to reciprocal response both legitimate and certain, adding it fired at an American jet and drones that entered Iranian airspace. This latest escalation could jeopardize the most significant diplomatic push yet to end the 3-month war with Iran. Secretary of State Rubio, speaking after the U.S. military attacks, suggested peace talks are not over.
I think there's strong alignment and agreement on what a preliminary draft should look like. It's going to take a couple days to settle on, even down to the disagreements over a word.
But President Trump is now adding a major new condition, writing that as part of the Iran deal, he expects all countries that took part in negotiations to make full peace with Israel. That is likely to be a major sticking point for many Middle Eastern and Islamic nations.
Well, y'all, I'm not looking for these talks to go anywhere. I'm really not. I mean, I think they couldn't be more further apart in ending everything. And, you know, we are in those times where America's going to be in these wars and there's no way out of it for them. You know, the time of this place is over, and y'all, with not enough oil and gas to go around, it will surely tank America. It will. If you want to watch a country decline down to nothing, take their gas and oil. That will do. Just that alone will do it. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your support. And be on the lookout for my upcoming lives. Shalom, family.
Okay, Shabaka, are you back or are you still on the phone? Oh, U.S. back at it again. What the hell? How you gonna say you want to have peace, but then you gonna bomb them during these so-called peace talks? Like, Except he has said he's more than likely responsible for this shit. The dump don't know what the hell he doing. It is what it is at this point. I guess we'll keep y'all updated on this. So moving along, we got Pope Leo the 14th apologizes for Catholic Church's role in slavery. Does that mean they're going to cut reparations checks? So at least they're going to give us an update on that as well.
Is verbalize.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth.
Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. I tell you what, I woke up this morning and I went out there to see what was going on, and here we go. We see an apology for the Pope. Now, I don't know if many of you know this. The Pope is touring Africa right now. He's on an African tour, which I think started about a week ago. And I think he's going to be there touring different parts of Africa. Well, today he did his mass in Angola. And during the time he was doing his mass, he apologized for the Catholic Church role in helping the colonizers and helping with the entire concept of slavery. So, you know, at the end of the day, y'all, the Catholic Church is another organization that owes reparations. Not to mention the fact that they got all of our art and different things that prove we are the Israelites up at their Vatican in their vault. And we want our stuff back. You know, I don't want an apology with no action behind it. And see, that's the only apology these folks like to give. They'll apologize all day long as long as there's no required action behind the apology. So an apology, what the hell are we going to do with that? What are we going to do? Everything that has happened to us for centuries at the hands of these demons, what the hell are we supposed to do with some lame ass apology? You know, it's of no use to anyone. And I want y'all to notice where he's given this "we want to apologize" speech. In the land of Ham. Now, why would you go before Ham to apologize for slavery? Why? Y'all didn't take Ham into captivity. You took us. You took the Israelites. So why didn't you make sure your audience were the appropriate people that you should have been apologizing to? Ham is going to accept any apology. Okay, that's why you're in front of Ham. There's a reason why he chose that audience. And look, y'all, at the end of the day, the Catholic Church did more harm well beyond just slavery. We know that. The Catholic Church themselves had slaves. They had slaves. They had slaves at all of these different Catholic churches that existed in the land during slavery. Every last one of them had slaves. All right. Remember, they've been around for a long time, even in this land. And they had slaves. They had slaves. So I don't know. How do you just stand there and ask for forgiveness? And I'm offended that you ask for that forgiveness in front of Ham, of all people. And of course, the Hamites are going to forgive you. They'll forgive anything. They are enamored with this Pope. So, oh yeah, they're probably telling him, no, forget about the whole thing. We're fine. Yeah, we forgive you. I don't. Okay, because these churches didn't just participate in slavery, y'all. They participated. And remember, and in fact, I did a live stream about the priests and the nuns. The priests and the nuns, when I went back and looked at history, both sold slaves. Both the priests and nuns sold slaves. So the Catholic Church's whole existence here in the United States, I don't want you to ever forget this, their entire existence came from slavery, slave money. The slave money built their hospitals, their schools, their churches, all of it. Every square inch of the Catholic Church was brought up and rose all over the earth from slavery. That's where the bulk of their money came from. If you remember, even over in England, their church, the Church of England, apologized for slavery. These people were wicked. They were. Y'all, they beat slaves, maimed slaves, and some of them even unalive slaves. These priests and these nuns. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. The same thing your average Christian did, that's what they did with slaves in the Catholic Church, y'all. That's what they did. So, no, you don't get to come hundreds of years later and all you want to do is verbalize an apology. That's all you want to do. And we're supposed to see this as enough. Oh, yeah, they funded and they helped the colonizer the entire time, y'all. The whole time the transatlantic slavery was going on, the Catholic Church was right there helping them through the entire thing. They were 100% with the colonizer. That's what they were doing. Okay. So now you don't get to come years later and try to act like your apology now absolves you for anything. It doesn't. It doesn't. And you're not even trying to make good. We're going to apologize. And whatever we took from you, we're going to give it back. We're going to compensate you for all the free labor. We're going to, all the artifacts and everything we stole, we're going to give it back to you. Nothing, just a verbalized apology. That's it. That will never suffice. It will never suffice. This is why the Most High must come in and punish these people. Because if he don't do it, they're sure going to allow each other to skip out on the judgment. If they think there's a chance to skip out on all of the judgment that's coming upon them. That's exactly what their asses are doing. But see, it's going to take the Most High to hold their feet to the fire and make sure dead in their face they will be aware of the fact that they are 100% accountable for everything they have done all the way up to present day. See, that's the problem with these folks. They will even, many of them are talking about, I wish I had a slave. I would hear them online saying, I wish I had a slave. Well, you're going to get your wish, but the only thing is you're going to be that slave. It won't be us. There is no prophecy in the Bible that says we got to go through a second slavery here in America. No, that's just wishful thinking coming from y'all. And what makes you think you are worthy enough for me to be a slave for? You ain't even worthy enough for it. So, no. So that tells me the population that did these things, the fact that they can sit online talking about they wish they had slaves again, that tells you there is no remorse among them. There is no remorse whatsoever. And y'all, like I said, everything they did publicly, they did in the Catholic Church, including raping the slaves. So, no, you do not get to stand somewhere with an apology and it's accepted. Now, for me and my forefathers, I will never accept your apology. No, honey, you gonna hold that L. Not only are you gonna hold that L, you gonna go through the judgment. Can you imagine, y'all, the people that started slavery will be slaves. All of these nuns and priests and their parishioners and all, they're all going into captivity. So, no, I have no, I'm not in the forgiving mood when it comes down to certain things, and slavery is definitely top on that list.
Keep going on.
It is top on the list. And, there are people that think what the Pope did, because I saw a couple of priests came online praising the Pope for doing this apology. And I said, well, yeah, your people didn't go through nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy for you to come online and praise everything. Y'all didn't go through nothing.
Right.
You didn't go through anything. So, I mean, this place is a trip.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. Let me share my screen so we can view these videos. I conclude there is something going on because I'm noticing it with a lot of people's videos. I was even watching Queen Amadaya yesterday, and she started some videos with no volume. And I'm convinced they're doing something online, because I did not have this issue with any of my uploaded videos before. But now when I play my videos, there's always some with no volume. And now I'm seeing other people channels and it's the same thing. So it's got to be something that they're doing that's causing it. All right, y'all. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Well, no, that is the kind of people they are. They will acknowledge something. I one thing I notice about them, they will acknowledge something. But when it comes down to the accountability part, they don't want no part of that. They don't want no part of any accountability. But acknowledging it is as far as they go. But no accountability, no trying to take a bad situation and make it right. They definitely don't believe in making things right. They don't. And see, if you would have stayed on that 40 acres and a mule and made sure everybody was compensated, you would never be hearing about slavery right now. So the fact that you still got to listen to it, y'all really caused that situation. Y'all caused that situation by not making good on something that you clearly know was wrong. You know that mess was wrong. All right, y'all. Thank you for the ones.
I can't no more. First the UN and now the Vatican. Hey, I need to know what y'all got to say about this here. I see why y'all don't like this new pope. Y'all didn't like Frankie. We loved Frankie. I see why you don't like Leo. But it's okay. I'm sorry. Pope Leo, I'm going to even give you your props, sir. I sure will. It's been a long time coming, but a change gonna come.
At the same time, we must not forget a subtle form of religious discrimination against Christians, which is spreading even in countries where they are in the majority, such as in Europe or the Americas. In its international relations and actions, the Holy See consistently takes a stand in defense of the inalienable dignity of every person. Not all migrants move by choice, but many are forced to flee because of violence, persecution, conflict, and even the effects of climate change, as in various parts of Africa and Asia. The same considerations apply to prisoners who can never be reduced to the crimes they have committed.
Pope Leo has issued a landmark text on AI. It's called Magnificent Humanity, and Pope Leo has taken the unprecedented step of personally presenting this text to the world. That's never happened before when it comes to launching a papal encyclical, a weighty theological document, and he's doing that alongside Chris Olah, a co-founder of Anthropic AI, one of the developers of this new technology, and also a company that has been in dispute with the Trump administration. Now, Pope Leo's text is saying that AI can be used for good, but must not end up in the control of a powerful few. He's also very concerned about the use of AI in warfare, calling for greater regulation of the technology. Of course, the Trump administration has been shy of doing that. But Pope Leo, with this document, making a major intervention and contribution to the development of AI, which he wants to see done ethically and to benefit as many people as possible.
What if I told you that the Vatican helped Europe colonize the world, that it justified European colonialism in the name of spreading Christianity, that there are papal decrees that allowed European empires to take over entire countries? And for what? To allow colonizers to subjugate people, to take away their lands, wage war on their cultures, impose a self-conceived notion of racial superiority over them. And all of this just because the colonizers claimed that they were the ones who discovered new lands. So they had a right to rule over those new lands. Now, the Vatican has come forward and apologized for what it did. It has apologized for helping the colonizers. Here's a report.
Have you heard something called the doctrine of discovery? It's Europe's version of finders, keepers. It's what European colonizers used to subjugate the world. The doctrine was cited by Europeans who discovered new lands, and the doctrine traces its roots back to the Vatican and to the Catholic Church. Now the Church has apologized for helping colonizers in their conquests. On Thursday, the Vatican issued an unprecedented statement. It officially apologized for its historical role in justifying colonialism by European powers. The Vatican said, "The Roman Catholic Church repudiates those concepts that fail to recognize the inherent human rights of indigenous peoples, including what has become known as the legal and political doctrine of discovery." It also declared that the doctrine is not part of the Christian's faith, but the Vatican is centuries late. The doctrine of discovery is a concept laid out in the so-called papal bulls. What are these? These are usually official statements from the head of the Catholic Church. That would be the Pope. So no less than the popes were involved in justifying European colonialism. Their decrees were used extensively in the conquest of Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Africa, and the United States. The colonizers claimed that they had the approval of the church to have sovereignty, property, and commercial rights in lands they discovered. Here's an example. Papal decrees in the 15th century permitted Portugal to subjugate Muslims and the non-Christians in Africa. That's not even the ugliest part of these decrees. The Vatican was quite explicit when it came to who Europe could colonize. It could only be non-Christians. So colonialism was essentially used as a tool by the Vatican to spread Christianity across the world. And the colonized countries paid a huge price. Take Canada, for instance. Between the 19th and the 20th centuries, more than 150,000 indigenous children were taken hostage in Canada. They were snatched away from their families and lodged against their will in the re-education institutions. Here, they were subjected to unspeakable atrocities. They were physically assaulted and sexually abused. Many of them didn't survive. They were buried in mass graves that are still being discovered in Canada. Last year, Pope Francis visited Canada. He apologized to the indigenous people for what the Vatican put them through. In 2015, too, the Pope apologized for the Catholic Church's action in Bolivia. He sought forgiveness, not only for the offenses of the Church, but also for the crimes committed against the native people during the so-called conquest of America. Just so you know, European colonism was a vast and often very violent project. The whole world at some point or the other has been under the control of a European power. Look at the French Empire. It ruled over territory greater than the size of the Europe itself. Then there was the British Empire, the most notorious of them all. And its peak was about 25% of the world population was a subject of the British Empire. Apologies are welcome and long overdue, but preparations will be the closest they'll come to making amends.
Pope Leo makes historical apology for Holy See's own role in legitimizing slavery. Nigga, it's been 500 years. That's like an ex sending a drunk text after 10 years apologizing for being abusive, narcissistic, and having morning breath at 3 p.m. sharp. It's a little too late for a sorry, sir. We've done our healing through virtual therapy, seeking emotional intelligence, looking for the God within us. Because the outside God, it might be on demon time. Sorries without action is just sweet talk, bitch. The darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. We need salaries. Reparations? No, bitch, I don't want a mule. How about that big body buggy? Some horsepower. Yes, I happen to be a man with a horse. Let my people go, nigga. It's a fucking eighth. You got dispensaries on every fucking block.
Pope Leo is apologizing for the Holy See's role in legitimizing slavery. In a message released this morning, the Pope called the Vatican's role in the slave trade in the 15th century a, quote, wound in Christian memory. It's the first time that a Pope has issued an apology for the role that past pontiffs played in giving explicit authority for people to enslave others.
What if I told you that the Vatican helped Europe colonize the world, that it justified European colonialism in the name of spreading Christianity, that there are papal decrees that allowed European empires to take over entire countries? And for what? to allow colonizers to subjugate people, to take away their lands, wage war on their cultures, impose a self-conceived notion of racial superiority over them. And all of this just because the colonizers claimed that they were the ones who discovered new lands. So they had a right to rule over those new lands. Now, the Vatican has come forward and apologized for what it did. It has apologized for helping the colonizers. Here's a report.
Have you heard something called the doctrine of discovery? It's Europe's version of finders, keepers. It's what European colonizers used to subjugate the world. During the so-called conquest of America. Just so you know, European colonism was a vast and often very violent project. The whole world at some point or the other has been under the control of a European power. Look at the French Empire. It ruled over territory greater than the size of the Europe itself. Then there was the British Empire, the most notorious of them all. And its peak was about 25% of the world population was a subject of the British Empire. Apologies are welcome and long overdue, but preparations will be the closest they'll come to making amends.
Yeah, well, he can go kick rocks with that apology. And, you know, you can tell the Catholic Church is racist because it should never have taken you this long to come out with an apology. The fact that it did, that speaks volumes about how racist y'all still are. It really does. And y'all, the bottom line is they're fully aware that we're at the end of their kingdom. They know. They know. You know, these things are not cropping up for no reason. They know we're at the end. And they figure if they say a little something and act like they're so sorry about what happened, and, you know, they get away and there is no judgment waiting for them. Well, that's where you're wrong. That judgment is still there. It is still there, especially if you did not do anything other than verbalize some words, then that judgment is still there. How do you think standing somewhere and speaking an apology make up for all the hurt and pain and unaliving and grape and everything that we have been through cannot be wiped away from some verbalized words? It does not work this way. And I'm deeply offended that you think that is good enough. It's not. It's not. The Crawford Experience, thank you so much for the super chat. No apologies, Pope. No check, no vote. I don't think we have to vote for him, but I get what you're saying. Thank you so much for your support for my channel. Dr. Sharon, thank you for the 23-month membership. These people also need to be honest about who we are and whose land they have been living on all these centuries for free. They need to prepare. Yes, they do. And all of you land stillers and the offspring, we gonna need back payment for that rent. We gonna need back payment.
With interest. Lots of it.
You didn't get to stay here for free. We gonna need back payment.
Yeah, with interest and lots
All
of
right. Dr.
Lots
Sharon again. Let me see. I can't even see the whole thing. Hold on 1 second. Let me just put it up here. I agree, Lisa. He knows. He knows. We know he knows. Yeah. I mean, the Pope knows who we are. He does. He prays to what, a Black Madonna. So he knows the truth. They know the truth. All over Europe, they do pray to a Black Madonna. And it's over here where they want you to pray to that pasty, stringy haired, toga wearing hippie that they call Jesus. That's what they want us to do. But over in Europe, all over Europe, even where Putin is, they pray to a Black Madonna. So they know. They're fully aware. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to have to charge y'all for rent. So we got to go back all these centuries, all the way up until that's going to be trillions of dollars in rent. That's going to be included with that reparations. You're going to have to pay back rent. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. And as you can see, people are not accepting this apology. And the ones that are a bunch of Hamites. They are. And of course, in the people in the Catholic Church, they accept. But see, you can't accept unless you were part of the slave trade. If you were not part of that, then you can't accept any apology whatsoever. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. My next live is a white doctor that's suing findaBlackDoctor.com because he said it's discriminatory for, the website to be Black doctors and nobody else like him can sign up.
No economical power at all on nothing.
Yeah, we covered that yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
First of all, you need to understand the history and the reason why we need a Black doctor. FindABlackDoctor.com.
Right.
All right. See, all you see is dollar signs. It's so typical. You don't want to deal with the reason why it exists in the first place.
Right.
So we will get into that at 2:45, y'all. So I will see you then. Thank you so much for being here. And also remember, this is Memorial Day and the sale on all of my sites is still going on. Etsy, 40% off. Shopify, 40% off. And TikTok Shop, 40% off. So take advantage and grab it up while you can. The sale will be over on the 26th at 11:59 p.m. Shalom, family.
Shalom, Lisa. Yep, they need to pay with back interest.
Lots of it. Lots of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the cold part about it is this here just proved my point again, or our point, Brother Che. In the beginning, we had the land. The European had the Bible. We closed our eyes and bowed our heads to pray. When we opened our eyes and rose our heads, we had the Bible, and the European had the land.
Right.
And I think that's what I had related to Jay Dizzle. When he did his stream, I think yesterday or the day before, and what happened.
So we need to brace the next few topics, Shabaka. So the next one is MALEMA. Foreigners are supposedly paying MALEMA.
Yeah.
In South Africa, XENOPHOBIC. So one of the systems from XENOPHOBIC is going to give us an update on that. And then I got the March people. They trying to come to Bill Scott now.
Okay.
There was a time I was here and I was saying that if it was possible, if things just, I don't know, if things just happened and it was possible for me to vote in South Africa, I'd vote for Julius Malema. There's a time I said that here and I got a lot of bile. And I said, I believe that Julius Malema is a reincarnation of Nelson Mandela. You know, Nelson Mandela really fought hard for the rights of Black South Africans during apartheid. And that is part of why he was arrested, because he really was asking for the liberation of Black South Africans. This is the time I say that, and I got a lot of hate because of that. And I will say this, that Julius Malema represents liberation of Black South Africans. He has also been very vocal in fighting for the rights of Africans, fellow Africans, you know, those Africans that have gone to South Africa to work there. And South Africans, they've been feeling that they're taking up their spaces, or they're just breathing the oxygen that they're supposed to be breathing. And Julius Malema has been fighting for the rights of these of these fellow South Africans. And so this has not gone well with some South Africans. They've been really insulting Julius Malema. There's one, you know, this vigilante group that is fighting Africans and telling Africans that we need you to be out of our country by June 30th. The leaders of this group, these two men, when you look at them from afar, they look very decent until they open their mouth and you get to experience what's between their ears. Quite unfortunate, honestly. I do not like their reasoning. They're reasoning like, I don't want to say babies, but they're reasoning, they have low thinking capacity, I would say. They lack education. Education is very important to my people. It is very important. They lack education. So one of these leaders of this vigilante group was saying, actually it's both of them, they were saying that Africans are paying Julius Malema millions of rands for him to be fighting for the rights of these Africans. You know, I listened to them and I was like, man, reasoning is not just for everyone. Anyway, listen to this.
Your people are planning to take this country, and we cannot allow that. Some people who are staying in fancy houses, they can live with that because they get security and everything. We know what's going on in the sea. We know what your people do in the sea. They hijack ships. They hijack ships with full of guns and missiles and everything. The ships are missing in the harbor because these people, your people, are planning to take over this country. And we are saying as men, we would rather die than to see that. And if a man is prepared to die, he's more dangerous. He's more dangerous. We are more dangerous now that we have laid our lives. Do you understand right now what we are doing? We are putting our lives in danger. We are putting our children's lives in danger. We are putting our wives in danger. And we are ready. People must know we are ready. The government of South Africa that is allowing this nonsense and giving you halls and apartments to conduct these nonsenses. They must know.
And you must come out of the closet that you are paying Julius Malema so much, millions, so that he can protect you.
He will never protect you. Julius Malema will never protect any foreigner in this country. He's just a Mickey Mouse opening his mouth too much. He doesn't know. He has no idea what we are. I'm not talking for everyone. I'm talking about where I'm coming from. It's just a whistle away. We have the war. We got the war. We are warriors. We are men. We are soldiers. We are police of this country. And we are ready to defend.
You can do everything. You can't play with it. Yes.
Sometimes when we talk, sometimes the police will feel offended. We understand that you are sent to protect, and we will always respect you. We will always respect you. But you are also men in your houses. Your kids, your nephew's kid, your nephew, your uncle's kid, and everybody, they are also hobos like our kids there. So even during apartheid, police were playing a part syndicately to help the country come to where it's supposed to be.
You heard that? Did you listen to that? I listened to that, and this man, one of them is called Ngizwe Mchuno. I've been following up on this story, and as it is now, Julius Malema sued this guy, one of these guys. He's Ngizwe Mchuno, yeah. He sued, and I'm following up on the story, so I will do a story about it. So just keep it here. So, but I actually feel bad that I am mentioning Julius Malema. Now that I've gotten to experience these people through whatever I'm getting on social media, I'm following up on these stories of them harassing Africans on the streets. Now that I've gotten to know, I have gotten to have an idea of who these people are and knowing who Julius Malema is, I actually feel bad that mentioning Julius Malema and these guys in the same sentence. The difference is like heaven and earth. Julius is heaven. These guys, well, they just exist. They're just an earth-shattering disaster. You know, I've been watching these two men, and they seem to be very powerful people in South Africa. You know, in all this, I've been wondering, where is the government of South Africa? Why am I not getting the voice of the government of South Africa? And why are these two men so powerful? They seem to have a lot of influence in South Africa. As well, they've been saying that they have given Africans up to June 30th for them to vacate South Africa. And actually, I cannot wait to see what becomes of South Africa after Africans leave. So will that translate to change? Will that mean that the jobs that these Africans have been doing in South Africa, they'll be taken up by South Africans? So does that mean that the skills that the Africans have, are they transferable by osmosis or something? Well, I'm yet to see. I can't wait to see how that goes. You know, I was seeing how these people are frustrating Africans on the streets. There's one man that I watched on the street being harassed by these people. I think he's from Zimbabwe or something. He has a car wash. He has set up a very big business in South Africa. And South Africans were telling him that now we own the business. We are the real owners of this business. And I just felt sad for the man. Let me give you that. Let me bring you that story.
You are from Nigeria?
Yes.
You are from Nigeria?
Yes.
Okay. So, do you have papers to be here in South Africa?
Yes, I have my ID.
You have your ID?
What
kind of ID?
Yes.
No. How did you get the ID?
I got my ID from Home Affairs.
Man, guys. Sir, where did you get the ID? When was it?
Since 2005.
2005. You came to South Africa to do what?
I came to...
What is the main reason for you to come to South Africa?
I came to South Africa because there was a war in in Nigeria.
No. You came as a refugee. So what are you doing now for living in South Africa?
Sorry?
What are you doing now for living here in South Africa?
I'm employing to South Africa.
What are you doing? Are you the one who's running the Kawash? No, look, sir. Just to be gentle, because I'm an old man, we are here to tell you, according to Immigration Act 2002, Section 13, 15, and 19, you are not allowed to operate any kind of business, not unless you have a minimum investment of 5 million rand and above. It's either you invest to the existing business or to the new one, you register with the CIPC, with Revenue and Home Affairs. You must apply for a business visa. You are not allowed to operate in informal trading, such as Kawash. So now, we are not asking you, you have to close this Kawash now. It belongs to South Africans. Are we together?
I'm listening to you.
Yes.
But the investment of this Kawash is more than 5 million.
No.
Local business, not Nigeria.
You can't invest in such business. It's an informal trading. The informal is a benefit of the South Africans. No, we're not going to delay because we're going to submit the memorandum. But we're telling you, just close down now.
Did you watch the poor man? Oh, I felt so sad for this old man. Anyway, next time, bring facts, not rumors, not feelings, not baseless things. Saying that Julius Malema is being paid by these people to fight for their rights. Anyway, my name is Wangari Njuguna, and thank you for watching. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, remember
to kindly subscribe to Frontline Black News. All right, Shabaka, what are your thoughts on women supposedly being paid by foreigners?
Okay, all right. Once again, you could best believe, okay, as you pull back what they say, pull back the onion, you're going to find some European with their hands in it. Not a doubt in my fucking mind. Is because what the European is a master at is divide and conquer. You see what I'm saying? You will find some European, okay, clandestinely, okay, with a dummy corporation with some nigga as a damn figurehead who he's paying peanuts to, getting the majority of the money out of it. There's not a doubt in my mind.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not a doubt in my mind. Is because, as we had stated earlier, is that then we're going to start our closing for Shabaka's Black Experience, okay, is that the white man, like Miriam Makeba said, they always use divide and conquer, divide and conquer.
We got time for one more topic on South Africa.
Okay. Well, it's wintertime there now, as you know, because they're below the equator. You know what I'm saying? I would like to see a Zania, one day.
We got to give all an update. I'm going to say the Mayweather stuff for Frontline Black News, but We got a
Yeah.
hit March and March, which is the group in Xenia that is telling the other Africans to get the hell out. They are labeling our brother Uncle Phil Scott as xenophobic, and they're talking about suing him.
Damn.
So
he might lose that one.
The one sister that you love so much from Xenia is going to give us an update on that.
No, with her fine ass, where she's
I didn't
at.
want to say anything last week,
Yeah, there
but
she
I can't let people disrespect our platform to exonerate a woman who's not only prideful, but
Marima
is
is
way
the
too
last
raw on
name.
the black skin. I'm not one for social media cloud chasing and beefs, but I'd be doing
Rainy
myself a disservice
Elway.
if I didn't address this matter.
Rainy
Last
Elway
week, I
is
made
her
a post
first
here on
name.
the African Diaspora News channel about Jacinta
If I got the
Ngobe's claim that
phonetics
her
right.
mother didn't know that she was fraudulently married to a Nigerian man. Jacinta, the leader of this anti-illegal immigrants organization, put out a video and said her mother was fraudulently married to a Nigerian man, and Home Affairs told the family that should she get a divorce, this Nigerian man that no one knows will get half of everything her mother worked hard for.
I want to share with your story, like I said, since you guys so desperately want to paint me as a bitter person, and maybe I am bitter, who knows? Because I was 14 years old, living with my mother, when I saw her breaking down, crying tears, because when she went to Home Affairs, she found out that she had been married off to a Nigerian that she didn't even know. So all of us had a problem with our identity because our mother basically was using a different surname, and from the surname, someone that she didn't know. And they were telling her that the only way to get out of this is to get a divorce, and to get a divorce would mean that this person takes half of everything that she has and she owns. This person that she doesn't know, she's never met in her life, who came all the way from Nigeria to steal an identity and pretend that he's married to her. I guess all the time they realized that stealing or faking marriages doesn't work. Now they started buying off South African women to marry them, which is working quite well for them because, oh my gosh, fell of desperation, love of money, etc., etc.
Now, her disciples had a problem with my commentary in response to this particular video. This man by the name of Clitoris Dumakude said that my video is defaming the leader of this group. I am destroying the character of Jacinta Ngobe by calling her and her organization xenophobic, anti-African, anti-black. I never called her anti-black, but if the shoe fits, then hey, check out this clip. Let's analyze it together.
Fellow South Africans, I think the time has come where we start fighting back for real, including using our courts. There is a campaign to de-campaign Jacinta Ngobe Zuma, Phakela Mthalati, and Ngizwe Mtshunu. In South Africa, when you are being defamed, you can approach the civil court where your name is being dragged through the mud without any evidence. Now, I want to show you a video, and you tell me this is not a lawsuit, because to me, where I'm seated, it's a lawsuit because it is spreading disinformation. It is also destroying the character of Miss Ngobe Zuma. Here we go.
So the leader of this anti-African migrant group that is responsible for all the protests around the country against immigrants is telling us why she doesn't like Africans, particularly Nigerians.
Now, if you look at the title of the video, defamation of character. If you hear the opening line of Refilwe, defamation of character. Now, this channel belongs to an American man by the name of Phil Scott. He owns a channel called African Diaspora News Channel. He has a correspondence channel here in South Africa. It's led by Refilwe. Can you imagine Americans watching this video and then looking at Jacinta Ngobe Zuma, and they see her as the leader of a xenophobic group? Xenophobic. Where is the evidence that she is a xenophobic group leader? Secondly, the opening sentence of this video itself, it is defamatory. No base, no substantiation, no evidence, no proof, and yet Americans, they will see Ngobe Zuma as this horrible human being because she's leading a group that hates on fellow Black people. She's not telling the people of this particular platform that Ngobe Zuma, she is fighting for the sovereignty of this country. She is fighting for anti-crimes that are committed against South Africans and the children of this country and the future of this country. She is not telling the world that Jacinta Ngobe Zuma is a patriot. And she's not telling the people that Jacinta, she loves her people. Nobody, and I mean nobody, has been harmed by March and March. Nobody has been done anything bad but to march the streets
First of all, I don't like your teeth. But I won't go in on your old physical appearance. I don't want to be called out for bullying. Because of your age, I would answer you respectfully. Just like in the Black community, we've been taught to respect our elders, I shall offer you the same grace despite not sounding very, very bright. You done went and asked our fellow people to donate their monies to open a civil case against my channel. Litigations are expensive, and half of your people can't even afford to put bread on the table. Shame on you for putting them in this position. If you want to come at me, do it like a man. Don't cut through the corners and ask for donation for litigation. No, don't drag our fellow citizens into that expense. These expenses will bury them below the poverty line. And some of us, we really take the courts very seriously. So we will come out hard and swinging. Now, with that being said, in regards to your claims that in my opening remarks, I labeled Jacinta Ngobese Zuma a xenophobe and that she is anti-Black, anti-African is a lie. I said she is leading a xenophobic movement that seems to only target African migrants more than other illegal migrants from other races. I'm yet to see videos circulating online of this organization dehumanizing immigrants from other races the way they have with Africans that look like me. And for this man to claim that I am feeding the American audience lies when the Americans have seen disturbing videos of African migrants being humiliated, circulating online, and coming to their own conclusions have nothing to do with my commentaries. Americans have already made up their minds when it comes to Black South Africans. They don't need me to be telling them anything. They see the videos. The proof is in the pudding.
Since South Africans care so much about their Black Africans and they're trying to stop their countrymen, their fellow citizens, from attacking Black Africans, what is the organization called that's trying to stop this since the South African government's not doing anything?
No, there wasn't an umbrella organization.
I see. But the doula is years old. It's several years old. So in those several years, you've not created anything to counter their hateful behavior. You guys don't care. You're liars and you're an apologist. What you should be doing is trying to figure out, instead of making excuses for your filthy behavior of your countrymen, you should be organizing to stop that evil. I hope that every country in Africa sanctions you and condemns you. I hope that every South African around the world should be treated like those Africans there in your filthy country. I hope they're all tracked down and treated like the dirt that you guys fundamentally are. You guys behave just like the Afrikaners. You guys were waiting to treat someone else the way you've been treated. There is no excuse for your conduct. And all you guys do is try to be an apologist and defend your filthy acts. None of you tell the truth about what's going on. It's apparent. It's covered in the media. You guys lie. You lie. You lie.
I don't need to be telling Americans anything. Her reputation is
that ain't no difference than what the goddamn United States does, man. So what the fuck is this nigga all bent out of shape about, man, and talking bullshit about?
Pops up in the images, including her organization. And that's not on the African Diaspora News channel. I'm not the only one in this country that has labeled her organization xenophobic. A plethora of people have done so.
You don't hate illegal immigration. You hate Black people. If this was really about illegal immigration, you'd be angry with the illegal immigrants from Holland.
The they call themselves, they're dealing with illegal immigration. That particular xenophobic movement, because they are resolving the problem amongst Africans. The problem amongst Africans. We are resolving it by mobilizing hate. It's very possible to talk about all those issues without mobilizing hate.
Just say, Renelwe, you are probably the only one in the country with an international audience, and we don't want our reputation to be compromised on these international platforms, especially coming from our own. Just say, Renelwe, we feel like you're selling us out, which I'm not. I am literally reporting the facts. The actions speak louder than words, and these videos are horrific and dehumanizing to Africans. Jacinta Ngobese, for her to prove she's not xenophobic, she must actually be fair on her quest to tackling illegal foreigners, not just Black illegal foreigners in general in South Africa. She's labeled xenophobic because it is an injustice persuasive narrative to not only dehumanize fellow Black people, but she further incriminates herself to the title xenophobic because we have not seen much and much in suburbs, which caters for vast illegal criminal individuals from outside Africa living in high walls. She's quick to offer a lawsuit for defamation, while her movement labels any Black foreigner illegal before they can even identify themselves. What is that? If this is the case, then every single Black foreigner must sue her movement because it is defamation of character to label people collectively just by seeing them without even knowing their status as legal or illegal. It is because of her movement, phobia is created to even those legal foreigners because at this point, whether you have papers or not, you are illegal according to her movement. We've seen how Nkunu has been moving. Now, furthermore, her movement is strongly undermining the justice system of South Africa. Neither her nor her or any citizen in South Africa can ask a foreign national papers. What does the law say about people that take matters in their own hands? Isn't that defeating the hands of justice by taking matters into their own hands when it comes to asking foreigners to identify themselves while she's not a police, nor is her movement a South African Police Service Association? Lastly, she talks about healthcare and education that foreigners in general shouldn't have in public sectors. The Constitution of South Africa says anyone within South African borders has the right to access healthcare, regardless of race, ethnicity, tribe, and immigration status. Now, until the Constitution is challenged and changed, we can conclude her movement is further breaking the law of the Constitution.
Right there.
No one is above the Constitution, including the president himself.
Inclusive shit.
Instead of focusing
That's
on
your main
actually
fucking
building a
problem there.
march and
But I
march
see.
school, hospitals for strictly South Africans, she is chasing infrastructure which illegal colonials have built. The apartheid regime built these infrastructures and at some point didn't allow Black South Africans to access them. She really wants to talk about immigration. All white people's wealth in this country came from an illegal colonial that forcefully killed Black people.
Yep.
Did they have IDs, these colonial masters? Apartheid ended in 1994 until today, which Black movement even built a library for South African child to have access to exclusively. It ended in 1994, but I've never seen any organization build a library for a Black child to have access to exclusively, if I should put it correct. I am too emotional that I feel like I'm just jumping my sentences. I'm too emotional. I don't like when people accuse me of things that I did not say. Open your ears. You're too emotional, South Africans. You're too emotional. And that is your problem. That's why people don't want to see your point of view, because you're too emotional. Excuse me. You're too emotional beyond logic. Like, I am a South African and I understand the cause. I understand why Jacinta and her movement are fighting. I understand what they're fighting for. They have explained countless of times. I understand, but it is the dehumanizing violence that makes people to not even want to know your reason behind your movement or your ideology. It is that those violent videos circulating online that makes us feel like, is this person fighting for the ordinary Black South African, genuinely fighting for the ordinary Black South African, or she just wants to make herself famous by circulating these videos online so we can have something to talk about, so we can talk about her each and every single day? Because trust me,
does the boar
when
have
we
his
talk about
hand in
illegal
this?
immigration, your face pops up and we will talk about you. Thanks to these videos circulating online. Your friends or your co-founders, Ngizwe Mchunu and Pakelom Tagati, they literally have embarked on a war.
No, this is African on African.
No. I'm talking about is I would be very, very curious to see if what the boar has his that Dutch guy got his hand in this. Is because the reason being because of the wealth that he has, plus of the minerals that are there, Brother Che. See, they want them damn minerals, man. They want them damn minerals. That is the true gold, is those minerals.
No, this is tribalism, Shabaka.
Okay, now. Okay, hold on, Brother Che. Now, hold on. Just hear me out. But is it being manipulated? I'm asking a question. I'm not making a statement. Okay. But is it fair to ask the question if that boar has his hand in it? That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but as it stands right now, it's tribal on tribal, African nationalists versus African nationalists.
Being manipulated from outside forces, the colonizers, because if the colonizers, Brother Che, lose that goddamn continent, Europe, the United States, Australia, a lot of Asia, will be third world nations. And then keep in mind, Brother Che, what about the Chinese? Do they got clandestine operations in there? Because what they trying to build, a trans-African highway, man, all the way from the Sahara, man, all the way down there to the, I forgot the name of that desert down there in South Africa. Shit. But all the way down, yeah, thank you. Okay, to the Kalahari. Now let's look at that. See, in other words, Brother Che, what I'm saying is, man, there's a lot of questions that need to be asked about this, about the outside influences. Because on that fucking continent, man, just like how they did us, they sat there, man, they bowed their heads and closed their eyes and prayed. When they rose their heads and opened their eyes, They had the land, and the European had they had the Bible, and the European had the land.
Well, they continue. They haven't learned not to Shabaka. They continue to walk them
Right.
out.
That's my point. That's my point. Just what you said right there. Motherfuckers haven't learned, still getting hit upside the goddamn head with the nightstick, man, and the motherfucker ain't moving his head. And he's still standing there, man, like we did at the Edmund Pettus Bridge, getting bashed upside the motherfucking head and ain't moving his head.
Yep. All right, let me finish this.
Yeah. Going back on mute. Okay,
Literally
but I'm here at the
physically
laptop.
beating, physically assaulting African migrants before they can even identify their status as legal or illegal. They don't care at this point. And they've stated so many times that all foreigners must go. They don't care whether it's legal or illegal. You guys must just go. That's what Pakalum Takati is saying. So whatever Pakalum Takati is saying, I will directly link it to you because you guys have been seen together on the streets, marching, protesting against African migrants. Targeting actually African migrants. I say targeting African migrants alone because I'm yet to see a Chinese, an Indian, a Pakistani, a Mexican.
There you go, Shabaka.
A Colombian, a Brazilian that is busy facilitating and building drug labs in our country and giving our children drugs, forcing our children into an addiction to the point where they can't even think for themselves, killing the youth of South Africa. I'm yet to see you go to those people that don't look like black people and fighting them and bringing your protest and your anger and your emotion to their doorstep. I'm yet to see that. Not long ago, there was a drug lab that was discovered in Northwest that was owned by the Mexican cartel, something along those lines. That was a nice opportunity for your movement to go to the Northwest region, the Northwest province, and go and confront those Mexican cartels that have drug labs all over the province. But instead, the day that headline dropped, your organization planned to march in Mpumalanga. I'm like, no, the drugs and the drug owners were discovered in Northwest. Why isn't the march going to Northwest? Why is the march going to Mpumalanga? For what? The drugs are discovered on the East, you're going to the West. You're doing it for fame. At this point, anyone might think, you missed an opportunity to confront people that don't look like us. Maybe these people fund you. I don't know. I'm not saying they do, but the way you are avoiding confrontation with non-black people, one might think that that's where the juice comes from.
There you go.
So this man lying and mobilizing our poor black South Africans to donate their last monies for a litigation that will be costly.
See, she just proved my point.
No, and remember, the courts don't deal with emotions; they deal with facts. And there's no way in that video where I label Jacinta xenophobic. I said her movement is xenophobic, and a plethora of people have said that. So I guess Jacinta will just have to sue everybody in this country that has labeled her organization xenophobic. Because if this case really does see the day in light in court, I will bring everybody that has called her organization xenophobic. Then we will have to do this the right way. The courts don't deal with emotions. You guys are too emotional beyond common sense. What do you think about the segment? Comment to us in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and share the broadcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And don't forget to like and share Frontline Black News.
Yeah, exactly. You see, so keep in mind, though, Brother Chaz, like Muhammad Ali had said in his book that I read, right? When he was assessing his opponents, right? And I think even Sister Kalia had said that when we had her on there. You assess what he eats, you assess how he thinks, what he used for recreation. You see what I'm saying? Oh, that's what that is, sir. The art of war. You see what I'm saying? The art of war. King Shaka did it. And then also, too, I want to do a future episode on Queen Makaba, his aunt. Okay. Because what had happened is that when Shaka, had saw them stinking, nasty motherfuckers, you see what I'm saying? He opened up the empire, you see what I'm saying, to be infiltrated. That's why she ordered his execution, although she cried when seeing her nephew being killed. But she says, we got to keep the security of the state. You see, we don't have that, you see. And that's all that I be saying. And I don't like getting up here arguing with that dude who drinks out at the Shy. I don't like getting up here arguing with nobody. But the thing is, like, you and I disagree agreeably because we built this shit. If we decide to tear it down, which I hope we won't, it would be a tragedy if we did. That's on us. Now, on this Ebola outbreak, man, just look at the strand of that motherfucker. Looks hideous, man. It looks hideous.
That shit is no joke. So that's so we're gonna say the Mayweather news for Frontline Black News. I'm trying to get through these Ebola topics in the next 20 minutes.
Okay.
So Ebola is back. Did they ever leave? It's back.
No, it never did. It never did. And then also too, I'm keeping an eye on my not the Bluetooth. What's the other shit that I'm using, brother? Check.
The headset.
Yeah, no, the hotspot. The hotspot. Because I see my meters going up on the data. That only means it's time close to pay the bill. You know what I'm saying? But that is so therefore with this Ebola outbreak, just like you saw in the motion picture, made a laboratory.
It sounded like you're underwater again.
No, Lord. Then that means, okay, hold on. Then that means this damn headset, man. I got to charge it up. Hold on, brother. Check. Hold on. Okay, I got to go here and make some adjustments. Okay, just bear with me. Okay.
I'll play the clip.
Yeah.
Organization warns the Ebola virus is spreading rapidly in the Democratic Republic of Congo, though the global risk remains low. The WHO says there are more than 80 confirmed cases of a rare strain of Ebola in Congo, though the amount of suspected cases is much higher at almost 750, with nearly 180 suspected deaths attributed to the virus. Health officials are now rushing to contain the outbreak.
If you have an outbreak and you are not picking suspected cases, that means your surveillance is not working. So now when we are seeing this, it's very, very important that we continue to pick up suspected cases.
Any Americans returning from Congo, Uganda, and South Sudan are only allowed to fly into Dulles International Airport near Washington, D.C. That's where Centers for Disease Control staff are on site for public health screenings. Now, this is not the first time the World Health Organization's declared an Ebola emergency. Our next guest worked with the organization Doctors Without Borders during a different outbreak more than a decade ago in West Africa. We want to welcome Dr. Tyler Evans to the show this morning. Good morning, doctor.
Morning.
To start, we don't want to unnecessarily alarm people. The WHO says the risk for worldwide spread is low for now, but given that, what should we all be aware of with this outbreak happening on the other side of the globe?
Well, just to sort of zoom out, Ebola is very serious. It has one of the highest case fatality rates known. What that means is the denominator of those who get infected, the numerator of those who pass away as a result. So case fatality rate in general with Ebola can be somewhere between 10 to 50%. Right now for the Bundibunja, we're looking at 25 to 50%. So it's very serious. It's a virus. Typically it's through zoonotic transmission. That means animal to human. Bats are the reservoir. Marburg is a sort of cousin of that. And this is, as you had mentioned, this is the third public health emergency of international concern in terms of Ebola being involved. So that's only 3 times in history. So this is really serious. The first one was 2014 and 2016 in West Africa, which I worked on. The second one was in Democratic Republic of Congo in 2019, which I also worked on. And this is the third one. I wouldn't sort of be too much of an alarmist on this particular situation in the United States. But what we're dealing with in Central Africa right now is quite serious. We've got delayed testing for this particular strain. Typically, you're dealing with the Sudan or the Zaire strain. And so we didn't really have the point of care test that we're able to detect this. Number 2, we don't have the therapeutics or vaccinations in order to really sort of isolate spread. And number 3, you're dealing with now it's in 3 major African cities, in Goma, in Kinshasa, and in Kampala.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to kind of recap some of the points that you're making. So what's different, I was going to ask you, since you worked with Doctors Without Borders during the Ebola outbreaks in Sudan and Sierra Leone back in 2014, some of the differences and similarities then and now. Number 1, you said the location where the outbreak's happening in more urban areas, and also the strain is different. Is this new strain more virulent?
This, just to clarify, I was with Partners in Health back in 2014 and 2016, not Doctors Without Borders. The strain is different. It is an unusual strain. So the most common strain that you're going to have are the Zaire or the Sudan strain. And so this is different from both of those prior outbreaks. So that does make it more difficult to control. In addition, we don't have, with the dismantling of USAID, with the dismantling a lot of sort of funding for CDC, global health surveillance and response, the WHO right now is really sort of hamstrung in terms of our ability to participate with them. WHO is basically, it's a mothership, and it works with coordination as its main sort of strength. And so without the US involvement, there have been a lot of challenges. We're also dealing with conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo. It is essentially one of the most conflicted nations in the world. Ever since the 1994 Rwandan genocide, there has been a number of conflicts, and there's a number of rebel groups that are in the area. In my book, Pandemics, Poverty, and Politics, I talk about how essentially conflicts lead to sort of the perfect recipe for infectious disease outbreaks to lead to epidemics and then to pandemics.
Yeah, it's easy to see how those things can kind of go hand in hand. The U.S. State Department said it is responding to the outbreak by, quote, funding up to 50 treatment clinics and associated frontline costs in Uganda and the DRC. There's other organizations like the UN and the World Bank contributing resources, but will that be enough? Why not?
It's too early to tell. Right now, we are sort of late to respond to this. Every day matters, and there has been a real delayed response to this. Again, getting into urban centers, this has not really happened before. So getting into urban centers is it's not great. And so we're hopeful that our African colleagues, the African CDC, and our sort of colleagues in Uganda and Democratic Republic of Congo are able to respond to this. Throwing a lot of money at this is not necessarily going to sort of solve this. What we really need to focus on is improving our infrastructure of surveillance and response. And while we did have some in the past 2 years, we did pull out a lot of funding, again, with USAID or whatnot. And so there are going to be some challenges. Now, for the American viewers right now, I wouldn't sort of provoke too much sort of alarm. There is, I think we are taking care of this pretty responsibly right now. As you had mentioned, Dulles right now is the only airport to get in. Right now, we only have one American known that was infected, who is a general surgeon, and then his family or his cohort that he was around is currently being quarantined. One thing also to mention, though, is our current quarantine center, our national quarantine center in Nebraska, is currently gummed up because of hantavirus. Now, we can set up quarantine units in really anywhere. I've done it in hotels, but for Ebola, for something with a case fatality rate this high, you want to take as many precautions as possible. So we are
there's a lot going on with multiple viruses that these health entities and around the world are really kind of keeping tabs on. A lot to follow. We appreciate your time this morning, Dr. Tyler Evans. We've run out of time, but we will. It's a situation we'll continue to monitor. We appreciate your insight this morning.
All right, thanks for having me. Bye.
8:20 now. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Okay. Now you got the hantavirus and you got the Ebola virus, right, people? Now ask yourself this question: what is
turning now to new concerns about the Ebola outbreak in
Central
Africa?
Motherfuckers
At least 220
combining those
people
forces?
are suspected.
You follow me, brother Che?
Yeah, I'm following you. I just trying to get to this because I'm kind of pressed for time.
Oh, okay.
To have died already, with more than 900 possible cases there. Oh no, Dr. Celine Gounder is a CBS News medical correspondent and editor-at-large for public health at KFF Health News. She also, by the way, was an Ebola aid worker during the West African epidemic. That was back in 2014. So you know this subject very well. Really glad to have you here. It's kind of scary because the world health officials say it's going to get worse before it gets better. What are they talking about?
Well, one of the problems we're facing right now is the lack of workforce to do contact tracing. So the key number here is only 1 in 5 contacts are actually getting follow-up to see if they have Ebola. Do they develop symptoms? Do they have a positive test? In the absence of a vaccine or specific treatment, all we have is contact tracing and isolation. So we're really behind the 8 ball here.
Why is it important? Why is contact tracing so important to containing this?
Right. So this is really the only way to stop transmission, given what tools we have at our disposal. So with contact tracing, you go to everybody's door, you check on them, you see if they have symptoms, you check their temperature, you offer testing, but they've even run out of supplies for testing. So if you don't have the people to go follow up, you don't have the supplies to do the testing, how are you supposed to contain this?
All right, so Uganda reported 2 more cases. How concerned should we be of this spreading, especially with the World Cup coming up? You got U.S., Canada, Mexico. I mean, it's going to be a lot of international travel.
Yeah, well,
talk about the travel restrictions. Do you think that matters?
Well, they're not very helpful, and it might seem obvious.
They would get a nigga to ask some shit like that. They would get a nigga to do that.
Or COVID, you're only preventing about 1% of the transmission that you might otherwise see. And so what happens is people are driven underground. They find other ways of entering countries. So they might travel over land, or they might make multiple flight connections. So it's harder to trace. And so it actually makes the whole issue harder to contain.
So do you think we're ready for the World Cup realistically? And what can we do? What should we do?
So this is the largest mass gathering in U.S. history. And as you mentioned, Nate, 3 different countries, over 5 million tickets have been sold, 16 cities, 39 days. This is massive. I talked to the guy who does health security, runs health security for the Hajj pilgrimage, which is also another mass event, smaller, by the way, than the World Cup. And he said, normally you have a chain of command, you have a command center, you have real-time data. We put $0 as a country into biopreparedness for the World Cup. We put in
Really?
$625 million for law enforcement and security, zero.
So what do we do?
That's concerning.
Yeah, that's very concerning. What do we do?
Well,
You
state and
just
local health
proved my
departments are gonna do
goddamn
what they can,
point
but they
right
have no new
there.
money. So, you know, they're a little bit cash strapped and workforce strapped.
Be conscious is what you're
How
saying.
fucking
be cautious.
convenient.
All right, Dr. Gounder, thank you so much.
How fucking convenient.
New
First
travel
place you're
restrictions go into effect tonight for travelers flying from parts of Africa to the U.S. as the deadly Ebola outbreak continues to spread. Starting at midnight, all flights to the U.S. carrying passengers who recently traveled from the Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, or South Sudan must arrive at one of three airports: Atlanta, Washington Dulles, or Houston's Bush Intercontinental Airport. Travelers will be escorted to designated areas and undergo health screenings. Health officials say a shortage of testing materials and contact tracing has exacerbated the disease spread.
One of the problems we're facing right now is the lack of workforce to do contact tracing. So the key number here is only 1 in 5 contacts are actually getting follow-up to see if they have Ebola. In the absence of a vaccine or specific treatment, all we have is contact tracing and isolation. So we're really behind the 8 ball here.
According to the World Health Organization, at least 220 people have died from Ebola in Central Africa, with at least 900 more possible cases identified. The outbreak is the 3rd largest on record.
Hi, everyone. Today, we're talking about one of the most feared viruses on the planet. It's the Ebola virus. Now, I know you've probably heard about it. You probably definitely have heard about it in the news. But what is it? How does it spread? And is there anything we can do about it? I'm also going to talk about symptoms as well. I'm Dr. Jen Caudle. Ebola virus disease is a severe and often deadly illness caused by the Ebola virus. It was first discovered in 1976 near the Ebola River in what is now the Democratic Republic of the Congo, when 2 outbreaks struck at the same time, one in Congo and one in Sudan. Now, the virus belongs to a family called Phillopyridae. Under a microscope, it looks like a long thread-like filament, okay, which is actually where the family gets its name. And there are 4 types of Ebola virus known to cause disease in people. The Zaire species is probably the most common and the most deadly. So how do people catch Ebola in the first place? Well, it starts in the animal world. So fruit bats are believed to be the natural reservoir, meaning they carry the virus without getting sick, and then humans can get infected through contact with infected animals like bats or primates, often through hunting or handling bushmeat. Once a person is infected, the virus can then spread from human to human, but only through direct contact with the body fluids of someone who is already sick. That means blood, vomit, diarrhea, saliva, sweat, even breast milk. It can also spread through contaminated objects like needles or bedding. Now, something important to note is that a person with Ebola is not contagious during the incubation period, only after symptoms appear. And just so that you're reassured, Ebola does not spread through the air like COVID, as an example. You really have to have direct contact with an infected person's bodily fluids. After being exposed, it takes anywhere from 2 to 21 days for symptoms to actually appear, with most people getting sick around 6 to 10 days after infection. And this is where things get tough. It starts with things that we call dry symptoms, things like fever, headache, muscle aches, fatigue. Honestly, how many times have you heard those symptoms happening at the beginning of an illness? And you're right, the same ones are here. Those sound kind of like flu-like symptoms. It's one of the things that can make this diagnosis tricky, especially in the beginning. Then often around day 4 or 5, the wet symptoms kick in. This is nausea, this is vomiting, and severe diarrhea. The fluid loss can be extreme, up to 10 liters per day in some cases. This is one of the big problems with this condition. It can lead to dangerous dehydration. And then in severe cases, people can develop bleeding. We're talking bleeding from the gums, from needle sticks, or even the stool. In fact, we used to call it Ebola hemorrhagic fever, but in truth, the bleeding actually occurs in fewer than half of the patients. But still, that's a lot, and it's potentially very deadly. And also the dehydration, the organ failure, the shock that can occur along with the fluid loss, et cetera. People with fatal cases typically die within 7 to 10 days of symptom onset from multi-organ failure. This is an absolutely devastating disease. Ebola is one of the deadliest infectious diseases known. The average case fatality rate across all outbreaks is around 50 to 60%, but it has ranged from 25% to as high as 90%, depending on the outbreak and the virus strain. Do you remember back in 2014? I remember that time. We actually had the largest outbreak in history. It hit West Africa from 2014 to 2016. Over 28,000 people were infected. More than 11,000 died. It really devastated communities and overwhelmed healthcare systems in Guinea, Sierra Leone, Liberia. So let's talk about treatment and also talk about prevention. And this is where it gets really important to understand that not all Ebola strains are treated the same way. Not all of them are equal, and that we do have different strains. So first, the good news is that there are things doctors can do for any strain of Ebola. Yes, it is still quite quite deadly. But we do things like supportive care. That's the foundation of treatment, regardless of the strain, right? What does that mean? That means giving fluids. That means replacing electrolytes, that's salts and minerals and things like that. That is trying to treat nausea and fever, giving antibiotics and antivirals in case there may be another infection happening at the same time. Not to treat Ebola, because Ebola is a virus, don't forget that. But there may be other things that we are also concerned about. Patients may also get oxygen support, blood pressure medications, dialysis. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Remember, this can be a very severe disease, so often the treatments for someone who's sick is very, very intense. Now, there are 2 specific drugs that have been developed, but the catch is that they only work against the Zaire strain, which again is the most common strain. Now, this is great that we have these couple of medications for the Zaire strain, but the issue is for the other strains, right? The other strains, these drugs don't work. Scientists are testing new treatments. We are studying this, but right now we don't have any that have been approved. In terms of vaccines, there is a vaccine, but just like the drugs that we just talked about, it only protects against the Zaire strain. Thank goodness we have that, right? But we also want vaccines against other strains as well. Those are also being tested, but listen, we need this right now. Public health measures in this situation and vaccination and when possible is so important, right? So you want to find, from a public health sort of standpoint, we want to find people who are sick quickly. We want to isolate them. We want to do contact tracing. You guys heard about this with COVID. We want to do other protective measures in the community, et cetera. And community trust and education are important as well. There's a lot more to say, but I hope this is a helpful start. If this video was helpful, please subscribe. Please follow me on Facebook. Please subscribe to my channel on YouTube. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, etc. Please follow my health content. I also have a free weekly health newsletter at drjencottle.com. Please subscribe to that as well.
And like and subscribe to Frontline Black News. I got 2 more clips that I've got to end.
All right. Okay. So as you pull in the clips,
leading us off tonight, the Ebola outbreak in Central Africa. The World Health Organization now says at least 220 people are believed to have died, and the virus has spread from the Democratic Republic of Congo to neighboring Uganda. Officials there confirming at least 7 cases so far. All of this sparking concerns about the Ebola outbreak spreading beyond Africa. In fact, Houston's Bush Airport set to become one of 3 U.S. airports that will screen American citizens arriving from those affected countries in Africa.
Harris County officials say they are already monitoring several returning travelers who were screened at Dulles Airport near Washington, D.C.
Katira Winfrey live at Bush Airport with more details on this. Katira?
Hey, Lyd and Mia, so far the airport system has not provided us a lay of the land, but the CDC says certain passengers traveling from that area will be escorted to a designated screening location. And while Ebola is a devastating disease, officials say the risks for your average American are very low. Bush Airport is operating as it would on a typical high traffic day, but behind the scenes, plans to deal with the deadly disease are underway.
Been kind of keeping watching it because it's quite, it's very pertinent that you're aware of what's happening in the world.
Teresa Akintunde is flying home to London. She's been following developments throughout her travels. The CDC has designated Ebola screen points at Dulles Airport in D.C. and Jackson Hartsfield Airport in Atlanta. Houston is next, with screening set to begin Tuesday night.
The health organization declared a public health emergency over
in the
the
South.
Ebola epidemic.
The CDC says passengers returning from the DRC and the region, travelers will be escorted to designated screening areas, complete a questionnaire about the travel history and symptoms, have their temperature checked, and will be observed for signs of illness. Those with no symptoms will be able to continue on their journey. Dr. Peter Hotez says the risks for the average American are extremely low.
Good news is that in the early stages of Ebola virus infection, it is not highly transmissible.
Those with symptoms will receive further evaluation, transferred to a hospital, and undergo isolation. Other passengers will be notified.
We've seen some folks returning to Harris County from those areas after doing some missionary work.
Harris County Judge Lena Hidalgo addressing news that at least 7 people are already back in Harris County after visiting Uganda. It's something Dr. Hotez says we're prepared for, thanks to learning hard lessons during the 2014 Ebola outbreak, which saw patients reach Dallas.
It caused a lot of social disruption. So there was a lot of worried for instance, worried that if they started to feel sick, that they could have Ebola.
Travelers like Akintunde says it's always best to be aware, and she appreciates the proactive measures.
I really appreciate it. Doesn't matter, it's better to go through the processes.
And health officials say we are likely to see more people visiting from that region in Africa, especially with the Congo soccer team setting up its training field here in the Houston area. But again, health officials say there is a very low risk for your average American. Reporting live at Bush Airport, Katira Winfrey, KHOU 11 News.
We certainly hope that will be the case and stay that way. Katira Winfrey with the update at Bush. Thank you.
Didn't they say the same thing about COVID?
On that there,
Overseas now to the deadly and rapidly spreading Ebola outbreak in Africa. The number of reported cases now above 900 in the Congo. Health officials face several challenges trying to contain this rare strain of the virus. ABC's Lama Hassan has the latest.
Tonight, it is a race against time to try to stop the deadly Ebola virus from spreading. The outbreak in Central Africa rising rapidly. The Democratic Republic of Congo now has more than 900 reported cases, according to local authorities, and 10 countries also considered at high risk for an outbreak. Health officials sounding the alarm.
It will be a big mistake to underestimate, especially with this strain.
In the middle of those 10 countries, the Democratic Republic of Congo, where there are more than 115 deaths reported to be Ebola-related. In the Congo city of Bunia, where the outbreak originated, health officials say there are several challenges slowing down efforts of trying to contain this rare strain of Ebola. People traveling from region to region, and also the ongoing violence.
The security in part of Ituri remains really fragile, and this is because of the presence of armed groups and recurring intercommunal tensions.
Ebola is a virus that can cause a person to bleed to death, and this strain has no vaccine or specific treatment. Health officials in the DRC have banned gatherings of more than 50 people, but in Bunia, locals attending Sunday Mass like Ronald Safari says he and other churchgoers are taking precautions. Just because this disease exists, he says, doesn't mean they can close the church. And as the U.S. inches closer to the start of the FIFA World Cup, multiple countries now with travel restrictions in place, including the United States. The U.S. saying U.S. citizens who have been to the DRC, Uganda, or South Sudan must now head to airports in Virginia and Atlanta for health screenings. A third airport in Houston added to that list on Tuesday. Foreign visitors and U.S. green card holders who have traveled through or coming from those areas in the last 21 days have been blocked from entering the country. And tonight, an update on one of the American missionaries evacuated from the Congo. Dr. Peter La Rochelle saying that the challenges are overwhelming, but that he has remained free of infection so far.
Lindsay, U.S. officials say they are aggressively trying to contain the largest Ebola outbreak in 10 years and stop it from coming into America. A disaster-resistant response team is now on the ground in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda.
All right, y'all, we gotta end the show.
Yeah, we got. Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here on Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. The air date of this episode here is May 26, 2026. Okay, we're getting ready to go to Frontline Black News. So we've been up here for the 3 hours. Also, too, please Google our past episodes and what have you. Please share them. Also, too, we're going to be having a donation link coming up here to keep this platform up and about. Also, too, Black family, it's up to us to take care of us, okay? It's because this shit that they're telegraphing it right here, Black family, I'm seeing it from a country now. They're going to bring this shit. They're going to Harlem with it. With the west side of the Shire with it. Up to this point, ladies and gentlemen, that there's my opinion, but I'm going to be monitoring this here closely, and I'm going to be monitoring as we deal with the Black experience, our people first, you see. So keep clean, bathe, keep your sanitation going on, fill up with some citrus acid, you know what I'm saying? Get you some lime juice, you see what I mean? Because this shit, people, was created in a fucking laboratory, okay? Yep. And I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to get this page struck down, okay? Yeah. So I'm making it plain. To quote one of our ancestors, I'm making it plain, okay? Right. They're going to target our people with it. So when you goddamn Nabiscos come up there and start getting with that shit, the first motherfuckers you all going to come up there too and please help us. We're all the same and all that. Bullshit. Black family, right. Protect yourself at all times is because we are the target of this shit. And I'm making it clear. So with that there being said, that there concludes this episode. Okay, Brother Che with his closing comments.
Shout out to Mac, shout out to Twin, shout out to Michael, shout out to Cardenas, and anybody that was speaking and not speaking. Join us in about 30 minutes for Frontline Black News. Peace, love, light, reparations, separations, and delineations, and Black empowerment. Chain Kruma signing out from the Mile High Income and illegal migrant flooded city, and Shabaka signing out from the Sin City. Come on, 7-Eleven.
Come on, 7-Eleven. Okay, take care, folks. Okay, I'm out. Okay. Oh, be sure to send me the link.